Welcome. I hope everybody had a good day today. I saw lots of people streaming today, so that was incredible. So that was good. How are you guys today?
Oh, you're talking to us. Oh,
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I didn't stream today, but I went and picked wild asparagus because.
Yeah.
No, I'm not kidding you.
That's
I
what
came
you
home
do.
with 2.5 pounds of wild asparagus. It was great.
Oh my god.
That's glorious.
You're going to have
Tomorrow,
very
I'm going to
stinky
grill
pee
it
for a
up.
very long time.
Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna grill it up tomorrow with some chicken and some sweet potatoes, and I'm gonna have leftovers for the week. It's gonna be great.
Hey,
Nice.
there you
Nothing wrong with that.
Nice.
I'm doing good.
Good.
Yeah, I had a good day. Did a stream, played some Mario Maker, had some really good levels, some really bad levels.
Typical
all that,
Mario
the
Maker.
usual when it comes to Mario Maker, right?
Right.
Wait, did you play the level that Chadley was doing the other night?
The one he was making? I don't. Or
No,
playing.
the one that Chadley
Subrosion
ended his
sent him
stream
one.
on.
Which
Yeah.
one is it? Because Subrosion definitely sent me a level, and I
One
definitely
with saws.
It was all saw blades.
no.
Oh jeez, right? It was crazy.
That's
Not
instant
all
skip. No.
Yeah, no, Chadley was dedicated. And how long did you take, Chad?
It took about almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
Rather
But he did
That's
it. He beat it.
insane. I
Yeah.
would not play a level for that long.
Guys, for the chat, if I don't respond to you, it's not that I'm ignoring you guys, because right now we're kind of all just focusing on each other. So it's not to be rude, believe me. I see you guys, and I will answer any questions you guys have for us about E3 or anything. But you know what? I forgot to mention today's podcast. We're gonna talk about E3, everything we're expecting to see. Maybe that'd be important, wouldn't it? I think that's important.
Yeah, I think the topic subject would
'cause
be important.
See, we're talking about taco recipes today. I thought that's what we were doing.
The whole night taco
This is a
recipes.
taco cast after all.
Yeah, I had like three different recipes on my phone here ready.
Right, exactly. All right, well, let me start this off by saying, okay, guys, so we have a lot of different E3 looks like it's going to be big this year from what I'm seeing. I mean, so it's starting June 9th, Saturday, and we got EA doing theirs. They're starting at 11 a.m. PT and then 2 p.m. Eastern. Sunday, we have a couple of them going on. We have Microsoft doing theirs first thing around 1 o'clock. Yeah, 1 o'clock Pacific time and 4 o'clock Eastern time. Bethesda comes after them. They're doing at 6:30, which is nice. Then we have who's this? Devolver Digital.
Oh, Digital
I've never heard of them.
Devolver is amazing.
Yeah,
so
they're
we
one of the
have
big
them.
guys.
Okay,
They're
so we have
huge.
them for 8 p.m. And then on Monday, on the 11th, we have Square Enix, which is nice because we might have a surprise there. And then we have Ubisoft doing theirs. PC Gaming Show. Now, I did read up about them. This is going to be the one that they actually have their own. They had, usually for E3, they have like a little place that they kind of do their own little, hey, come see the games we're coming out. But this time, they're having a big show. This is like one of their first times doing it. That's why we never saw them before. 2015 was the first time they presented themselves at E3. And then Sony will be doing Monday as well. They're the last one. They're going to start at 6 p.m. Pacific and then 9 Eastern. So, and the very last one, see, this is where I'm a little bit confused. Tuesday is just Nintendo. They're by themselves. So I don't know if they're doing Nintendo Direct or they're actually doing an E3 thing.
They're doing a presentation, a video presentation.
Yes.
So let me get to you on that one because I actually looked this up. They're doing something similar to what they did last year, where they separate out. So Tuesday is going to be just them just going bananas on stuff that they'll talk about throughout the entire week. They're going to be doing a treehouse. They're going to be doing a Nintendo Direct. They're going to be doing other stuff throughout the week that is only going to be shown on their stuff. It's not going to be like this is the press conference. They're going to be doing stuff on their stuff. That's what they did last year. Last year they did the Treehouse where they showed off Breath of the Wild. They did a Nintendo Direct where they showed the fact of Animal Crossing was coming to the phone. They showed the Pokemon. I mean, this is the stuff that Nintendo does. They do, like I don't even think they did a real one last year. I think they just kind of separated it out like that.
They did. Yeah, they
No,
separated.
they did. They did a real one last year. They did the Spotlight, the Nintendo Spotlight.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, I've got something that you're gonna like. I actually have footage from last year's E3. Anthony, one of the members of the Gamers Brew, actually went, and I can send that right now.
Oh,
Nice. But since we're on Nintendo, I want to ask you guys a question. Now, this is the question of everything. I know E3 is just right there, and we're all trying to figure out what they're gonna show for E3. One of the biggest things is, are they gonna talk about their online system, and what do you guys think of their online system? I know,
So-
I know Louis' face right now. I can see it. He has so much to say about it. But like, I want to know what do you guys think? Like, are they doing it? Are they moving the right direction, or do you
Yeah.
think they really messed up?
I
So-
think that
Mhm.
they need to they really need to make it if we're gonna be paying for this, it can't be the way it
Yeah.
is
Well,
because
Exactly.
can I
it's not good.
can I just say one thing that really bothers me about it? And
No,
I'm
CC
sure,
Gaming, go ahead.
I'm sure Louis already knows about this too.
Go ahead,
So-
man.
But
Yeah, go ahead, man.
so right off the bat this month, I think it was
Yeah.
at the beginning of May, they announced they are not doing the traditional virtual console
Yeah.
because of their
Yeah.
online service, and that bothers me a lot.
Okay, but
Because
I actually have some insight into that, dude. I read some really good information on that. But I'll get to that
Yeah.
after you finish. I just want to kind of tell you.
All right.
So you say what you got to say, but yeah, I have something on that.
so my problem with that is you're getting a streaming service, and right now they're only guaranteeing NES games. Now, that's well and good for people who didn't get a NES or the NES Classic or don't emulate stuff. But I mean, NES games are basically really small, bare blocks, easy peasy. I mean, I think everyone owns at least something in some kind of form on a different console, whether it was like Animal Crossing on the GameCube, you had
Yeah.
all the little tiny consoles,
Yeah.
or if you got it through the ambassador program with the 3DS, or if you even
Yeah.
just downloaded it on the 3DS or on the virtual consoles. I mean, I liked the virtual console versus this new streaming service through their online because you got to pick and choose your platter of what you wanted. Now we're
Yes.
just stuck
Yeah.
with whatever it is.
Okay.
And that's going to lead to a lot of things because I'm telling you, a lot of third parties who own rights to certain games won't go through with this.
Corey's
no,
about to
no.
explode. Corey,
No, no,
talk.
Okay, Corey. Yeah,
Go ahead,
Okay.
Corey.
go.
Do your
So
thing.
here's the thing. So it's not. Well, I read some really good articles about the whole online service and the
Yeah.
losing the lack of the traditional virtual console system, right?
Yeah.
So we've already got a virtual console essentially. We've
Yeah.
got all these games from all of the older games that already have come out. The Neo Geo games and stuff like that have already come out. Those are not released by Nintendo, but they are a virtual console game. Let's be honest, they are.
Yeah.
So
I know
what I
exactly
think
what you're
people are overlooking the fact that losing the branding of virtual console does not mean we won't have the option of purchasing or streaming, renting, whatever these older games still. I think it's a major rebrand on them because of the fact that they're going to be, you're not just getting access to like 6 NES games. You're getting
Mhm.
access to NES games that now have enhanced features specifically online. We don't know about other features, but we do know specifically they're adding online play to stuff like Dr. Mario and Mario Kart, or maybe not Mario Kart, but all these games are going to have online play. So you can't call it a virtual console. Well, you could, but they don't want to. I don't think they want to call it virtual console because you're going to have third parties releasing their stuff. You're going to have Nintendo now kind of upgrading some of these older games. It's not the same as the brand that was virtual console before.
Yeah, see, and for me, my gripe isn't even virtual console. Virtual console, to me, it's not a big deal. Because, I'm not going to play those. I've got a collection of NES games on the shelf back there, so I don't need the virtual console stuff. But where it bothers me is how they've gone through the progress of getting to this point. If they would have stepped up to say, okay, our online features are going to start now when the games were really hot, when Splatoon was huge, when Mario Kart was still fresh, it would have more drive for people to buy it. I don't play those games on my stream anymore, and I feel like
Well,
I'm an average user, and I don't play them online. So to me, it's not worth the money to get online for those when the games have already lost their hype that they had. So I think it's a misstep for them to start this late. The other thing is they've shown how bad their servers are already. So they
Yes.
haven't enticed us into wanting to pay for it when they haven't even shown us that they can handle it as it is. Because I know for me, it was a constant issue with Mario Kart being knocked off constantly. And it's like if you
Yes.
can't even show the demo of your online service working, why would I want to pay for the online service? I'd rather pay for PlayStation or Xbox and get the AAA title for free.
Yeah.
Because the NES
That's
ones, like
true.
it's great that they're giving these free games. I don't even care that they're just NES. It's just the value for my dollar. I'd rather spend the extra money on the PlayStation server and get the AAA game. You know, with 4 of those games, I've already gotten my money back. Whereas the NES one, I don't feel like I'm going to really get my value out of it. So that's my gripe with it. I think it's a good decision, but it's too late, and what they're offering just isn't up to par.
Yeah.
And that's what
that's
that's my. Oh, go ahead, Kazoo.
Oh, okay. That's definitely true, I think. But what you said about the hype, like because of the game, I think that's why a lot of people think that Smash is going to be released in September to coincide with the online service. And yeah, so I think that's another thing that we're going to see at E3 is Smash's release.
Yeah, and Smash will definitely help. I just feel that it's a misstep when you have 2 big games that you kind of let fall to the website, and now you're going to go with 1 big game, which like I don't know. I feel it's a misstep. I don't think it's going to completely kill it. It's just a misstep.
Well, and here's the thing. I'm going to expand on what Louis was saying here. Yeah, they're not the AAA titles, and we're just getting the NES games. But the NES games, like I said earlier, are so small, like in size, just data-wise. I'm hoping that the only reason they're doing that to start is because they're testing out their streaming service, because maybe it'll expand. But I agree that it's a misstep because there's so many indie titles. There's so many things that people want to play but don't want to put the money on.
Yeah.
That it's a misstep on them. Because think about it, like PlayStation Plus and Xbox, there's always an indie title attached to some AAA game that was like from like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And that people wouldn't have bought, but now they play it, and now that gives those people things. But the thing is, Nintendo doesn't care. Their company model is Nintendo in-house first. That's why they hate people who stream their games unless they join their service. That's why they put on so many rules and regulations to their games, so many DMCAs. I mean, Sega is a perfect example. A lot of people have taken Sonic the Hedgehog, created fan games, and Sega's like, this is fantastic. This is you growing our community. They even went so far as to hire people who created fan games to create Sonic Mania.
Sonic Mania.
Sonic Mania was created by people who originally created a fan game of Sonic, and Sega was like, you guys did a fantastic job. We want to hire you to bring back this. And it turned out great. It was Sega's biggest sale ever. It for Sonic, I mean, it blew everything out of the water that anyone expected. But Nintendo is very much Nintendo first.
Yeah, they're very old-fashioned in the way that they think. They're not moving forward with technology.
Yeah, they're not moving forward. Yeah, on things like YouTube.
Speaking of which, just real quick,
speaking of moving forward. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna see if Rigo checked what I sent him.
And Chadley, you've been really quiet. What was Chadley have to say?
Come on, Chadley.
Okay.
Talk, man.
Since we're on the topic of the online service, like here's what I'm hoping that they do, because I'm hoping that what they have announced so far is that it's not everything. That they just wanted to give people a teaser of what they're expecting to get when it first launches, and I'm hoping that in E3 they give you a little bit more of a future plan for it. I mean, I like the fact that you have the cloud saves. It is kind of neat that you're going to be able to play these like NES classic games with other people as if they were in the same room, things like that. I mean, to me, like when I saw that announcement for the Virtual Console and basically the Virtual Console brand is dying, I'm hoping that because they have this new brand that's just kind of floating out here with the classic consoles. Okay, so the
Oh, I hear someone.
I'm hearing an echo.
Yeah,
am I getting an echo?
a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, with the classic consoles, I'm hoping that this new classics brand is what they're going to be using moving forward, and that they incorporate it into the Switch, because the actual logos, the coloring, everything matches the Switch. Like if you look at the classic, the box art and stuff like that. If you look at the box art right here, like that looks like the Switch.
Yeah.
Like the way that
Yeah.
the branding is and everything. So I'm hoping that they'll go and take the Classics brand, move it to the Switch, and then start offering other games like the SNES, the Nintendo 64, even possibly GameCube titles.
Yeah, and that's
to
why
the
I don't
Switch.
believe that them losing Virtual Console is a big deal, because it's a name brand, right? It's not really, it doesn't mean
Yeah.
that they're not going to do anything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
But
Now, I
here's-
did watch a couple of like videos and stuff of how it's a good idea for them not to release GameCube and all that, just to prolong what they can get out of the Switch and push money out of it as much as possible, right? But
Well, I mean, they did that with the 3DS with the Game Boy Color games. Game Boy
Exactly.
Color games weren't released till like way late in the 3DS's lifespan, and now they just added for the new 3DS, mind you, great marketing on Nintendo. Just add new.
The new 3DS.
Yeah, so we're gonna get the new 3DS. It's gonna be like 4 screens. It's gonna be crazy. But back to what I was saying. They just released I think within the last 2-3 years the SNES games on that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the other thing, like if they're releasing these classics, right? Like there's rumors of the N64 classic eventually coming out or whatever.
Yeah.
That's another reason for them not to release it on the Switch, because they won't sell as many of the consoles if you're getting it in a little mini console, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like I can see it being a long time before they get to it, but I don't think getting rid of Virtual Console as a name is a big deal.
But here's the thing: I don't ever think that we're gonna ever see a GameCube classic. I don't see that as being something as viable.
No, not a
No,
GameCube
no,
for
no,
sure.
no.
The
But
hardware
an
isn't there
N64.
yet.
Exactly.
The original, well, like from what I've heard, when they originally started doing the whole thing with the classic systems, the original like press release was saying that they were going to do 3,
Mm-hmm.
which would make sense that they would come out with the NES, SNES, and then Nintendo 64.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now the fact that they're starting to have the whole branding or the advertising of, hey, we're going to give you a chance to get the NES Classic again. Oh, by the way, we're going to have more SNES Classics in stock. I think it's just ramping up to E3 for where they make the announcement, hey, now we have an N64 Classic coming at the end of the year.
Yeah, exactly. I think
I
that's-
100%
So I
agree
think
with
that's
that.
exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to get everybody excited and say, oh, if you missed out on it this time, you're going to have a second chance to get these classic systems.
Mhm.
Oh, and by the way, we're going to have a third one on the way too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's good, fairly solid evidence supporting the high chance of the 64 Classic, because I don't know if y'all saw when somebody found all the like the patents for the logos, right? Somebody
Mhm.
found three
Yeah.
new patents for logos, and they were the NES Classic, the way it looks like on the box, the SNES Classic, and then a 64. Like, but they were
N64.
controllers like that, and it was a 64 controller just like that. So-
It's in the same style.
yeah.
Yeah. So and the fact that it was found, like that it was trademarked or patented or whatever at the same time, really leads me to believe that it's going to happen. And I think E3 this year would be a great time to have it happen.
For sure.
To
And
announce it at the
you-
very least.
it would be like like we're all sitting there watching. They're gonna announce their usual Super Smash Bros. And everything, and then all of a sudden we get this big surprise of the N64. I mean, we could be wrong. I mean, for all we know, it's not even gonna happen. But it would be one heck of a surprise on top of what they're already offering with their online and everything, just to
Mhm.
kind of put the cherry on top to be like, hey, look,
Well,
guys, here's what we want to add for you guys.
If you think about it, 2 years ago was the NES Classic. This year was the SNES Classic. So it would make sense that next year they'd be putting out the N64 Classic if that is the way they're going. I hate to backtrack a little bit, but back to what Chadley was saying.
Can't do it.
No, it's over. It's one way. One way.
It's over. We keep moving forward.
back to what Chadley was saying about the multiplayer for the NES games.
Yeah.
They're a little late to the party, because for PlayStation 4 players, I'm sure you guys know, the share play really plays to that idea well. The whole share play aspect. Like
It does.
take Enter the Gungeon. It is
Oh,
it is a console game on the PlayStation 4. It is local play only. Or even take Sonic Mania. You are able to play with people over the internet, even though it's not internet compatible multiplayer.
Sorry to
You can
interrupt.
still
Thank you for the donation, Hewen. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hashtag
$2
for
donation,
Hashtag Ewan.
Ewan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Anyways,
much.
continue with your
guys,
thought.
I disabled alerts for the reason of our conversating. So
Except
if we
we got alerts
interrupt-
popping up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
well,
got
if
alerts
we
in the
catch
bottom
it,
right corner.
interrupt just to. Anyways,
But yeah, go ahead.
Apparently I'm that way. Anyways, as I was saying, that really steps it up because I mean, think about it. They came out with they're coming out with Sonic Mania Plus, or right? Is it Plus? Sonic
have no
Mania
idea.
Plus.
Yeah, it's the like the physical edition plus the DLC and whatever, right?
Yeah, and they're supposed
Yeah.
to have online play, but the thing is,
Yeah.
the PlayStation 4 already allowed it, and the PlayStation 4 allows for that share play, and I think that's kind of what Nintendo sees, and they're like, I want to try to do that with some of the NES games. I'm hearing an echo now.
Yeah, I wonder where it's coming from.
Really?
Yeah, I definitely have no audio on, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
off
have
of
mine
three.
off.
Mine's off too. Yeah.
yeah,
Anyways,
The connection. Anyways.
yeah, it could just be Discord
No,
glitching out.
yeah, it could be. But as I was saying, I think Nintendo they've always been one to kind of be a forefront. So I think they're trying to pick and choose what's already worked. But I
Yeah.
feel like they're not picking and choosing the right aspects for their online thing. I think the online mode for the NES games is going to be great. I think it's going to add a lot of extra stuff. But I'm telling you, we're not going to see the DuckTales game.
No.
And that was a lot of fun, but we're not going to see that. Because we didn't see it on the classic, and they don't hone the patent to it.
That was my
For
next
sure.
question when we were talking about the N64 thing. What do you think is going to be on the N64? Because they don't own the rights to a lot of the best games that are on the N64.
Like Rare,
Rare.
all the Rare games.
Oh,
Yeah.
like Banjo
The only one
Kazooie.
anybody cares about is Rare.
Banjo
Exactly, right?
Kazooie,
Anything Rare
Diddy
won't
Kong
be on.
Racing, Donkey Kong 64.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So we're left with what?
exactly.
Mario Kart, Mario 64. Like those are the
Even
two
Turok,
big
Turok.
guys.
Turok won't be there.
Wait, they don't
Yeah.
own the rights to Mario 64?
No, I'm saying like besides Mario 64
Oh.
and Mario Kart, what else are they going to
Well,
see, right?
Ocarina
Like
of
this.
Time.
Yeah, the Zelda. But
they
that's
don't
only
have-
four.
Majora's
It's
Mask and-
That's only 4 right there, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
I own more non-Nintendo games for the Nintendo. I had Mega Man Legends, or
Okay.
Mega Man 64 was the N64 version.
So, circling back to what they could have on there because of what they own. Think about this for a moment. Did the SNES classic, come with Super Mario RPG?
Oh,
Yeah.
and that's a Square
That's
Enix.
a
That's a
Square
Square
game.
one.
That
So-
Yeah.
Nintendo does not own the rights to that.
Yeah. Now my problem is that Rare, because they have their history with Nintendo and with going on with Xbox, will that be a hindrance for them to get anything from Rare?
I don't.
Yeah.
The contract that was signed for the N64 era was different than the NES era. So I'm thinking that we're not going to see any Rare games for the N64 just because the contracts were written differently. And that's why it took so long for
Yeah.
Donkey Kong 64 to come out on the Wii U, because Nintendo literally had to go through so many hoops just to get Microsoft to be like, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but that actually gives me hope. The fact that Donkey Kong 64 is on
But
the
what
Wii U
isn't?
Virtual Console.
But what isn't? The Banjo.
But that's what I'm saying, okay? But that does give you hope, though. Like, right? I mean, I understand that the rights are not owned, but again, just like the rights to Square Enix and Nintendo had a falling out. It was not that they just were like, "Oh, we're not doing this." They had a falling out. Nintendo rejected Final Fantasy VII. They did not like it because it was going to be a 64 game originally.
Yeah.
I've seen prototype footage of it. It was supposed to be a 64 game. They didn't like it. They rejected it. That's when everything went south. They fell out. They did not have a good ending to their relationship, but they still managed to have stuff like I said, Super Mario RPG is one example. Don't get me wrong, but it's still a strong example.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that it's completely dead. Like it's not like
right. And I'm
dead
not
in his
saying we
grave.
should absolutely put all our money that we're gonna get Donkey Kong 64 or Diddy Kong Racing or anything, but
Conker's
it's
Bad Fur
definitely
Day.
not. It's definitely
Yeah,
not.
exactly,
Well,
exactly.
But
I don't think we
that
did
goes
that.
to a whole new thing with mature ratings.
We're not gonna get Conkers because
No.
Conkers is currently on Xbox.
Yeah.
If it weren't for that, maybe. I think anything that is currently on there, so like Perfect Dark and all those things like that, are not gonna come.
Because it would cut into their own budgets, so they're not going to do it.
It would be a conflict. But I think there's a lot of things that we do have a chance. Now, again, it's a chance. I'm not saying it's an absolute guarantee, but I'm saying that we should consider that it could definitely happen.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. No, sure, for sure. All right, so that's a lot about Nintendo, eh?
Well,
Like,
Nintendo's a
we-
controversial
on and on.
company.
Well,
Yeah,
I
for
hate
sure.
to add to the Nintendo hype train, but what does everyone feel about the really strong rumored leaks about the Pokemon core game for the
Pokemon?
Switch?
Oh,
I was watching like a whole thing about that. I'm not a Pokemon fan, so I don't have anything to say about this. Like,
Well-
it's not that I dislike Pokemon. It's just I stopped at red, and red is where I'm gonna die.
Well, so do you mind if I quick run through just to educate the viewers real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Educate away.
Okay, so the rumors are that it's going to be a Pokemon Yellow remake for the Switch because it will coincide with the 20th anniversary of Pokemon Yellow. There'll be 2 versions, a Pikachu and an Eevee version, and the rumored titles are Pokemon Pikachu Go and Pokemon Eevee Go. And there's a thing going around that Nintendo really wants to connect the mobile Pokemon Go to the Switch, so you can transfer your Pokemon Go Pokemon into the actual game. Now, the other thing is that it's supposed to follow the story right after the events of Red and Blue. So we're looking at a completely new story because the characters Red and Blue, or Red and Green if you're in Japan, will be followed by new character Yellow, a new version of Yellow, and another female character. They haven't yet figured that one out.
Yeah.
Pokemon will follow you again, just like they did in Pokemon Yellow version and Pokemon Soul, Silver, and Heart Gold. There will be an online hub that is similar to an MMO. So you can just go there and meet people. It'll be different than the plazas they have currently. Then they're also trying to create a peripheral that will work with the Switch and with Pokemon Go, because the peripheral that goes with Pokemon Go right now, which is called the Pokemon Go Plus, I can go grab mine. Yeah, that was actually created by Nintendo. Niantic had nothing with that. They said, we want this for this, so we will develop it, and then you figure out the support for it. And so they want to create another one that will be something that will then link Pokemon Go to the Switch. It'll be like the hub to connect the two. There will be extra rewards in Pokemon Go that link the two things together, and that the announcement is supposed to actually be coming here during E3. Like they said, like within the next month, expect our official announcement on what's going on with Pokemon. So we're very much probably going to see something at E3. We might not get all the information that we want, but we're at least going to get a title or a working title and some test play footage, I'm sure.
All right.
So I've been
Yeah, go ahead.
hearing that. Huh?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I've been hearing that that the Pokemon like won't get announced at E3. I've been hearing that because usually in the past, like they have always announced it like at their own separate event.
So I think the
That's
Treehouse
not
is
true.
where we'll see Pokemon, though. If they announce Pokemon for E3 stuff, I don't think it'd be at E3. I think it'd be their Treehouse, because didn't they already say that?
Well, that's the thing, is that last year they announced it at their Treehouse. The Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon was announced last year at their Treehouse. It was a big thing.
Oh.
And so they did
Wait,
announce
no, it
last
wasn't.
year at, yeah, it was. It was
No,
announced.
Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were announced in the Pokemon Direct.
No, it wasn't. It was announced in the
No.
Treehouse. I can literally pull up on my Discord channel here, because I posted a whole bunch of stuff when it went live, because I watched it live that day.
Well, either way, I think they mentioned there was a mention when the Nintendo E3 announcement came out. I don't remember which way it said, but they said that either the E3 thing or the Treehouse, one of them is focusing only on Switch games, and the other one is going to have other stuff. I don't remember if anybody has that image handy, but when that tweet went out, it specifically said on there that they were doing only Switch games at one of the two events. So whichever one that was is where if we see Pokemon, it'll be there. It'll have to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I just don't happen to have that handy at the moment. I'm gonna pull it up.
That's all right.
Damn it,
That's
Corey,
all
you're
right.
so unprepared.
Dang it.
The other thing
Be
is that
prepared like us.
they
Let me
did
pull something
say-
up, guys.
Yeah, let me Google something. Hold
Oh.
on, guys, so I can pretend I know what I'm talking about. Pokemans.
All right. So,
Um,
I mean, the Nintendo conversation can keep going on, and
Yeah,
like I
we
said,
could do a whole
Forever.
podcast just on
we
Nintendo.
could do it forever, but you know, we have a huge list here of things that are happening. Let's move on to Sony. I'm gonna go down down and up. So, Sony has a lot of things that are going on for them.
Oh, I know why Kazoo was confused, by the way. If you figuring that out real quick, if I can
Yeah.
explain that.
Okay.
The reason why you didn't think about it was because the announcement trailer for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon was tied into the Pokken tournament DX announcement at the very end of the Pokken tournament reveal, where they had the guy. That was when they announced Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, was at the end of that reveal, because it literally went straight in from Pokken tournament, straight into revealing the title of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon with some test footage.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I just wanted to clear that up.
Wait, so that was the reveal or not?
It was a reveal because
It was.
they showed it. They showed test footage of the game.
Oh, okay.
All right, so back to Sony. So Sony, as we know, this year they've taken the spotlight. I mean, they went from a failed system of PS3 selling, and then finally, you know, as time went by, PS3 was able to do better, to releasing a PS4 and showing off these great graphics and just taking over the gaming world with these awesome graphics and awesome releasing the PS4 Pro, to now we're hearing rumor about possibly seeing, not being told that it's going to be released, but just seeing possibly a PS5, and more or less they're saying more VR is going to be being shown this year at E3, and they have a couple of first party surprises for us. What do you guys think? What do you think of the idea of a PS5 showing or coming out? And what do you guys think that Sony has in store for us?
I think we're absolutely going to see the existence, a teaser of a PS5. I think it's going to be, I envision like you see like a dark room, and then it kind of lights up a little shiny thing, and it's spinning, and it's like the next generation kind of thing. You know, like we don't really get, I don't envision them saying, hey, we're going to be releasing the PS5, you know, whatever. But I think, I feel like Sony is on a kick. I think they've been on a kick with doing stuff like that, like where they really tease it. And I think that I think we'll see something. I think either that or we'll see like some kind of crazy new version PS4, because I don't know what else they can do right now. What else you can do to really improve console gaming?
Well, that's what I was going to say, is that I actually disagree with what you're saying, because the fact that this year is when they put out the PS4 Pro, which is their 4K gaming.
Yeah, but just because they give a teaser today doesn't mean it'll come out by next year. It could be like teaser today for 2020, right? So that still gives it 2 years.
Go by the track record of Sony over the last 2 years. So take Guardian. Guardian was this big game. You guys know the Guardian game, the one with the giant fluffy thing, and then you follow it around.
The Last Guardian?
Yeah, that one. So that one was announced back in 2014. They literally showed footage of it every year up till, I want to say, 16, and then they just didn't show anything until right before it was released.
Yeah.
The last 2 years, Sony has really dialed back on stuff that is coming out that's not within the next year. They don't, because they've learned that they really anger their demographic and their people, because they're like, oh, this is coming out, and then 3 years later, I mean,
but in contradiction to that company is known for doing that, right? Like that company's always had problems. Like with Ico, they had a long delay, and they also had a long delay with Shadow of Colossus, so they're known for that. But with their consoles, it would be stupid for them to announce it now to release for next year. Like they need time, because I just spent $500 on a PS4 Pro. I won't be hyped for it coming out next year. But if they tease it now that it's coming out in 2 or 3 years, I could get hyped. I can start knowing, okay, there's something else coming out. There is something cool.
But see, Sony is also very scared of what Microsoft's going to do then, because if you look back at take the Wii, for example. The Wii came out. What did the PS3 do? It came up with the wands with the little bobbly thing on the top.
Yeah, the PlayStation Move.
The Move.
Yeah,
terrible.
PlayStation is very scared of what Microsoft is thinking of doing, because Microsoft was originally going to pull out of the game system, or the game competition completely.
In that same regard, what do you think Microsoft can do to really scare Sony? Because
I think Microsoft is up against the wall. Yeah, they're up against the wall.
They can.
I mean,
they don't have that many great exclusives. Their exclusives are decent. Like the ones they have are pretty good, but they only have a few of them. And then now with Play Anywhere, you've got them all on PC as well. or not all of them, but most of them. And it's
Yeah.
Yeah,
here's the
and the
thing,
Wii is
think of
a one-off, right? Like the Wii was awesome when it sold, so they all tried to scramble to get a part of that. It's like
Well,
right now
yeah.
with the Battle
look at the
Royale,
Wii U.
right? Battle Royale
Look
is
at the Wii
huge.
U.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Xbox and PlayStation tried to do the whole peripheral thing where you could connect the PS Vita to the PlayStation 4 and play your games through that, just like the
yeah, but you can play that remotely.
Yeah,
That's different.
that's totally
I mean,
different.
I know, but they,
And-
but
and
they
the thing
took
is,
the
it's-
concept. They took the concept and improved on it.
Yeah, but
That's what
that's
PlayStation's
how
not
the
worried about
industry
it. They-
works, right? That's how the industry works, right? You look at Battle Royale right now, everybody's
Yeah.
doing Battle Royale. When Call of
Exactly.
Duty was big, everybody started doing that. So when the Wii was big, everybody started doing the same thing. So I wouldn't be too worried about them being scared of Xbox, because Xbox is up against the wall right now. Xbox has been making
But
mistake
so was
after mistake.
PlayStation 3 during the 360 era. I mean, the
Yeah, but that
360
doesn't correlate to now. Like that, they made a mistake with
Well,
the PS3 and then they repaired it with the
It does
PS4.
correlate to now because PlayStation learned they were backed into a wall during the Xbox 360 era, and then they came back. Microsoft could do the exact same thing. So
Yeah,
I
but
don't think
that
we're
wouldn't
gonna see anything
dictate
about
whether or not
I
PlayStation
don't
is
think we're
scared.
going to see anything about a PlayStation 5 this year. I think if anything, we'll see it next year, but I don't think we're going to see it this year because, like you said, you just bought a PS4 Pro. If
but
anything,
the
there's
PS4 Pro came out 2 years ago at this point, almost 2 years ago.
Yeah,
really
almost 2 years.
Yeah, I just pulled
Yeah.
up a minute ago. It came out in like November. It's like a year and a half. It came out like in November of 2016. So it's not exactly fresh for today's console standards. It's not old, but it's not brand new still at this point.
I mean, like if you go back, let's go back for a minute. Like when they announced PS4, right? Okay, let's go back to Xbox. When Xbox 360 was announced, PlayStation tried to come back, and then they had to do a bunch of revamps and make it better, right? Period. Okay, they made better and they were able to come back. When PlayStation 4 and Xbox One were announced, they threw themselves against the wall, making the mistake of saying, you can't share games, blah, 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 blah. So PlayStation threw it in their face. So then Xbox turned around and made an update and said, no, you can do it. You can do it. And ever since then, every time PlayStation released something, Xbox has tried to revamp theirs to be better or to be similar, right? As of right now, it hasn't been able to catch up to PlayStation, nor do I think as of right now, they're going to be catching up to PlayStation because they're trying it with the Xbox X. And for me, the Xbox X hasn't shown me anything that's saying I need to grab it. I need to have the Xbox X.
Yeah, and even going off of that, like the PlayStation, that's why they don't have to be scared, because the Xbox X is new. So
Exactly.
Xbox won't be spitting anything else out when they've just spent this much money on this new console. So PlayStation knows they have some breathing room anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
Because
the
if
whole
it's
thing,
bad
right?
for the PlayStation to release something new with the PS4 Pro having just been released, it's even worse for Xbox to do anything right now with the
Yeah,
Xbox
because
One
Xbox
X.
One X.
Is brand new. Like it's just
Yeah.
been out.
Yeah, exactly, right. So it's just gonna. I mean, like you said, Louis, they put themselves against the wall, and right now they're having trouble to scramble. What can we do? What can we do? I mean, they haven't released any real quality, good first-party games. I mean, we just got God of War, and that game, like that's a perfect example. Look at that. It's a beautiful game. I mean, we're talking
Yeah.
about 10 out of 10, and I mean, Xbox would really, really have to do something to step up their game. I mean, as you can see right now, they're the first. Like, Sony has so much confidence that they took like Monday, the last ones to do anything.
Yeah,
versus
and
Xbox being the first
High
one.
Class is saying right now in the chat that they're not taking advantage of the power of the One X, and it's true. They haven't.
true,
This is what
yes.
disappointed me about the Xbox One X is they released it and they didn't release anything to show it off. They didn't release anything to go, look how awesome it is on this console specifically. You can get it on the original console, but it's so much better here. They haven't done that to really wow you. Whereas PlayStation was like right away, look, Horizon Zero Dawn is going to be awesome on this. It's going to be so much better. Xbox is misstepping with such a powerful console, and it's really too bad.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It is. It really is. I mean, and you know what? Like honestly, it's like Sony said, and Sony knows where their competition is. They turned around and they have already said it. They said, what they have to be watching out for is Nintendo, and it's true because Nintendo has done something actually kind of spectacular with their Switch. We're talking about 1080p, yes, on when you have it docked, but you can take a high quality game and go on the go. Something that PlayStation hasn't been able to do with their Vita because look, now they stopped Vita support.
Yeah,
They're
they never
like, okay,
supported
No,
it, which is too bad.
that's not true. They still have Vita support in Japan.
Yeah,
No, but
outside
they're
of Japan,
stopping.
no. They just announced
They
that
did.
they're continuing support in Japan because it's still selling very well there. We're not going to get any more physical copies, but we'll still get digital releases.
we're not going to get physical copies from Sony from first party either, though. Third party is still going to happen. Third party has never stopped, even here in America.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that was just the whole marketing issue with
Yeah.
Sony. They never believed in it enough to market it to us, and it's too bad. And the Switch showed them that they were wrong. Like I'll say it. I did not believe in the Switch at all. My brother was all hyped for it, and I was like, no, I don't want it. It's garbage. It's dumb. And now I'm
really?
all behind it. I'm
I
100%
pre-ordered day
believer.
one, and I was like, this is going to be the system right here.
Chadley, you're
And
not saying
it really
anything.
was.
Talk to us,
I'm not
man.
giving the man a moment to speak. Speak.
Yo, I watched the review for that Switch, and I was immediately hyped. I was
Yeah,
listening
I
to all the
wasn't.
rumors on YouTube and stuff. I was already hyped because I'm a Nintendo girl. So what can you do?
I'm a Nintendo person, but I just wasn't hyped. But I was completely wrong, and I'm willing to admit I was
I've-
completely wrong with that.
I have killed my fanboyism for Nintendo because Nintendo has, pardon it, but ruined a lot of their, and I'm not happy about that. I mean, and the only reason I say that is take the Paper Mario series for example.
Oh gosh.
I mean, the
We're
first
going
two.
back to Nintendo.
I'm sorry.
It always leads
I'm
back there.
Sorry.
Well,
I mean,
basically
think
all
about it.
primarily Nintendo channels, though. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's kind of what we concentrate on.
I mean, so what I was saying about that is take what they did to Paper Mario. The first two games, really great, very unique. They had buddy systems, everything. And then they went to Super on the Wii, and it was okay. Then they went to Sticker Star and Color Splash, and by far, I think we can all agree that those games,
I love Color Splash.
but they don't compare. It's comparing an apple to an orange. They're both fruit. They're both Paper Mario games, but one is clearly superior to the other. And if you want me to go to a different example, how about Metroid? Like, they got so upset by the backlash from Prime Federation Force for the 3DS that they are coming out with they came out with two Metroid games that they announced last year. Samus Returns and Metroid Prime 4. They haven't showed anything for Metroid Prime 4 but the title.
The
And
title.
people are still hyped about it. And we're
Yeah.
coming to a full year now. And we still don't have any more information other than it's in development. And granted, you know what? Samus Returns, it was good. It was a Metroid game. I enjoyed it. I played it completion. I bought the amiibo because I wanted to play the Fusion Suit super hard difficulty. It's actually a lot of fun. But I mean, when they saw that a fan was doing better with AM2R, I mean, they
True.
immediately DMC'd that and was like, okay, we screwed up. We gotta go back to what worked. And that was classic side-scrolling Super Metroid style gameplay, which they didn't have any new ideas, so they just recreated the Game Boy one because that was the one that people haven't really played. And then they're creating Prime 4 because they've already put out Prime 1, 2, and 3 in a bundle pack on the Switch, on the Wii U, when 3 was actually released on the Switch. So I mean, they're really pushing hard to come back from that mistake, but they
So,
still don't.
I gotta stop you there.
Wait, what?
When have we gotten a Metroid on the Switch?
Oh no, they had it in the Virtual Console or the Virtual Console for the download. The Metroid Primes 1, 2, and 3 are downloadable on the Switch.
Words.
Or not the Switch, the Wii U.
Thank
Sorry,
you,
I'm
thank
so
you.
sorry.
Wait to see how long that would take you. Moving
I'm
on.
sorry.
No,
I'm
you're
sorry.
He's
good.
got a special Switch.
Hey, you know what? Okay, so
You're exactly right.
I kind of want to talk about something because somebody just asked something and we didn't, while talking about our Nintendo section, we actually didn't talk about this at all, which I'm really surprised because it's something that
It's what we all play.
we all do. Yeah, Mario Maker.
Yeah,
So,
Mario Maker.
Oh,
What do
Mario
you
Maker,
guys
yes.
think? Do you guys, okay, so first of all, do you guys expect that we're going to see Mario Maker teased, announced, a trailer, anything? And if you think we do, that that we'll get anything, what are you guys expecting? Are you expecting a port or a new game or just like even a really enhanced port, with slopes and with new themes? What kind of things are you guys looking forward to? Like, what do you think?
Let's start with Chadley. Let's let Chadley
Yeah,
say
let
something.
Chadley speak.
Chadley,
Hashtag let Chadley speak.
Go.
Simple answer, yes. That I see them coming out with it. I mean, the game is still pretty popular, at least in the
Likes.
YouTube
Oh, yeah.
realm. and obviously people are still making levels for it. I mean, there's people that are still playing it, even though the Wii U is pretty much dead at this point.
We all play it.
Everyone, like all of us play
Yeah.
it, you know. I mean, and we see that there's still a huge community for it. So it would be a big mistake for Nintendo not to have something come out for the Switch, because I think they're already. Here's the thing: they're already porting games over to the Switch from the Wii U to give them a second chance.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Mario Maker, technically, Mario Maker doesn't need a second chance, because that was probably, if you had a Wii U, 9 times out of 10, you probably had Mario Maker too. But it would be such a huge mistake for them not to have something come out for the Switch.
Absolutely.
It's just, I mean it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
I can't remember when. I can't find the pull up, but I did read that Nintendo was playing with. They did mention that they are looking into a Mario Maker. They didn't say if it was going to be a revamp on Mario Maker 2. They just said they're looking into a Mario Maker for the Switch. They did say they were playing with slopes, which is very good because that's what everybody always wants. And they were looking into the possibility. This is just a thing. Like, I can't find it, but anyways, they were looking into Mario 64 type levels.
Now,
right? That was just, but they
3D, right? You mean like 3D?
But that's the problem. I don't think that's gonna happen because so the thing about Mario Maker is that each version of it is just a reskin with slightly different rules. I mean, modern Mario can grab walls and backflip, blah blah blah. Mario 3 or Mario World could do the spin.
Spin jump,
yeah. I mean,
but you could take the skin of Mario 64 and go into that blockage looking. That's all they were saying. They were just looking at.
Oh, okay, so like a theme. For
it. So like a theme.
Okay,
that would be
great. I would love that. I would.
That's all they're looking into. They're not looking into the actual like converting it, because that's all 3D, right? Like, I mean,
that would be way too problematic.
Too powerful for the system.
Exactly. No. They're looking into just the look of it, because I mean, that look is awesome.
It is.
You know, it would give it a different type of thing. But the slopes, I think, would be the important thing, because I mean, that's where you could really
slopes, Yoshi's Island, half water, half land. That's what I want.
Boom, right there.
Yeah, but I agree with everything Chadley said. I think that they would be a really dumb mistake if they're revamping all these to give them a second life, and they've already got a living community for Mario Maker. It would be dumb. Yeah, it would be dumb for them not to do something now. Will they do it now? I don't know.
I don't think that we're gonna see. Here's the thing. I think that the Wii U will be discontinued service before, or at least announced before we actually hear something about this. Yeah. And the only reason I say that is because of the fact that Nintendo really doesn't care about the YouTubers and streamers. They really don't.
No, they definitely don't.
They don't. They have no respect for the YouTube communities or anything. They look at the physical sales. And here's the thing, is that someone who doesn't buy the game can still watch and send in the thing, and they think, oh, we're not going to get any money then, because they are showing what it is. But what they don't realize is that actually helps sell it.
It's advertising, yeah.
So that's why I don't think using the fact that there's a thriving YouTube or Twitch or streaming community will have any bear on if they're going to do it or not. They might think about it, but I think their biggest issue with bringing it to the Switch is the fact that we only have the touch screen when it's undocked. And that was the biggest call with the Wii U, was the fact that you could grab it, move it, see it on the screen in front of you, but manipulate it with the tablet.
Okay, so my input on that, because I've actually been talking with a lot of people about that, because this comes up in every server that I'm in Discord, this comes up in YouTube all the time. And the biggest right, okay, so exactly, right? So you can use, so first of all, controllers work just fine for creating levels. And for editing levels, we've seen theme park, theme park tycoon or whatever it is on PlayStation 1. We've seen games on NES had editors in them. So first of all, controllers work just fine. They're not going to be as fluid and as quick, to manipulate as you would with like a touchscreen and a stylus, right? But it works. And here's the other thing: who's to say you couldn't just create a level when you're undocked? I know it would be kind of restricting, but it wouldn't be the end of the world.
No.
Because you don't have to
that's
be
true.
streaming or recording while you create. I know there are people who do that, and that's fine, but you really don't have to. And so not having a touchscreen available while you're docked or not having a stylus usable is not a valid reason, in my personal opinion, to not do Mario Maker on the Switch. I think it's an easy way out for people who just aren't really thinking about it, but I don't think it's got any kind of bearing on it, to be honest.
Yeah.
That would be me, my thought.
And as for Nintendo not caring about us, hello, I got 4 cents the other day.
Dude, I know, right?
We're gonna be rich soon.
You just made my point for me.
But yeah, no, I agree with you, Corey. Like it's not like it. Yeah, you can undock it, make your level, and then put it back on if that was the case, or do it a slow mode where you just kind of dragging the control. I mean, you know, but.
Galactictron made a good comment too. He said something about having a stylus or motion control. We're forgetting that the fact that the Joy-Cons have motion control, and they've actually released games that mimic a pointer, very similar to like the Wii remote. So it's very, very possible that they could just add the ability to make levels using Joy-Cons and pointing to the screen and basically just saying, "Hey, put your Joy-Con on the table, let it calibrate or whatever so it knows where it's at." Or you might even say, like, point to the center of the screen and push a button to calibrate. Once you do that, then it's basically emulating a Wii remote at that point, and you could create levels easily with just using the Joy-Cons.
I don't know. I think the Joy-Con's would feel a lot clunkier than a stylus. I'm gonna be honest, because
Definitely.
I don't know about anybody else, but like just using like with Smash Brothers, and you use to grab and you move the thing. I mean, that's even with a stick. It still doesn't feel like as fluid as just being able to pop.
But that doesn't make
that's
it
with
like
everything.
not a viable option. It just means
that's
it
with
would be
everything.
a clunky one that would be not preferred by probably a lot of people. But having it as an option is
as an alternative.
It's one of those things. Well, if you want to play it docked, this is how you have to do it. And it won't be the end of the world. We did a bunch of Wii games that way, so I don't see them not using that because they're trying to force motion controls, right? Like every game has some kind of motion control, and I'm a huge disliker of motion controls. I hate them. But if that's the way that it would work, then I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow, conversation's heating up. This is really good.
Yeah.
Good.
So
Okay, let's move away from Nintendo.
Okay,
we talk
move
about
away from
Bethesda?
Nintendo.
And then 15 minutes later, we'll come back to it. So.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say,
right?
I'm going to have a jet in a few minutes.
Okay.
But
So I'm looking at Bethesda, and they're talking about possibly an
I'm in
update.
the center. Ooh, I feel special.
They said they're gonna look at an update for Skyrim Online, changing the whole game itself. They're saying that they're gonna announce something big at E3 about that. Also, you're looking at This is a rumor section now that I guess they're looking. Somebody said that they saw something about Fallout, the new Fallout game, Fallout 5, right? That's the number. So there's rumor for that, and then apparently we're looking at some new DLC, Rage 2, and a rumor about another Doom.
So okay, so I'll go quick. The Fallout 5 thing, the reason for that rumor is because of the amount of space between official releases of things. Fallout 4 came out almost. Wow, that's a really bad echo that time.
I know that was bad.
That was really bad.
Yeah. Oh, hello? Oh god.
Volunteers.
Chadley's like, I'm done with this. I don't like this echo.
I've had enough of these people. Can't handle the echo.
Anyways, the Fallout 5 thing is because of the amount of time. A lot of people are saying that we're going to see a Fallout 5 this time, or New Vegas 2, or something of that respect. Because of the fact is that they said that they are developing 3 games with the same engine as Fallout 4, while at the same time they're creating a new engine, which supposedly is what they're going to do their next Skyrim 6 or Elder Scrolls 6 on. And so it doesn't make sense for them to release an Elder Scrolls right now with that. And we won't see another Elder Scrolls until online hits its block, so to speak. It's gonna like once the online hits that wall where they're no longer making the DLCs, or the added on content, that's when we can expect to see another Elder Scrolls. But with Fallout 5, I mean, it's been 3 years since we have seen the Fallout game came out. They've created the
Has it
VR.
been that long? Jeez.
It has,
Wow.
because the Gamers Brew actually started the week that Fallout 4 came out, because that was our flagship starting point.
Mhm.
So I'm very passionate about Fallout. I mean, I've got Hit Boy, I've got the mini nuke, I've got the Nuka-Cola like right there. Like I'm very passionate about Fallout, so I've been following this. But they opened
Side note,
up us.
I
Sorry.
really like your shelves. Sorry, you pointed them out. I wanted to say it before I forgot.
Oh, no, thank you.
I hope you guys like my shelves too.
Oh, it's so green. It's so beautiful.
My shelves.
David Bowie for the win.
Yo, James,
You know what?
Hey, James.
You know what?
James Clark with a $2 donation. Everybody, please hashtag James
Motherfucker.
Clark.
Thanks, buddy. You're awesome.
Oh, James is here. Hey, James.
We got like 4 Jameses here tonight, I think.
So, as I was saying about Fallout, is that it has been 3 years, and if you look at the release schedule of what Bethesda has done in the past, they are due for another Fallout game. They're due for another core installment. And since we're not looking at, God, I keep hearing it. So we're not looking at anything from Elder Scrolls. They have a new IP coming out, which is running on the same end, which has already been announced. They said that they are going to be showing off 3 other things other than Rage 2.
Yeah.
They said that in a tweet right after the whole Walmart E3 spoilers.
Yeah.
So, and they've also said that this is going to be their biggest E3 to date. So they are looking to really kind of just blow everything out of the water. So, I mean, if you're looking to blow something out of the water from one of your flagships, and so like Rigo said, Doom, we could be hearing something about that. And we already know we're not hearing anything about Skyrim or Elder Scrolls. I keep going back to Skyrim because
Yeah,
Well,
we're probably not going to hear anything about Skyrim.
yeah. Well, we heard everything about Skyrim. Skyrim VR,
Multiple
Skyrim
times.
Switch, Skyrim HD 2010. I don't know, but we're probably looking at something for Fallout. If it's not going to be Fallout 5, we're going to be looking at something of the equivalence of New Vegas, something that they've
Yeah.
redone the lighting engine. It's a different location. It's probably going to be on the West Coast. If not, there is a rumor that it's either going to be Chicago or New Orleans. And so, you know what? We've never seen that from Fallout. We've heard things about the Brotherhood of Steel in Chicago in the games, but we've never really explored the middle of America in Fallout. It's always been West Coast, East Coast, ever since Bethesda bought
Fallout New Orleans. Sorry.
But since Bethesda bought out the rights to Fallout,
There it is again.
I really think it's Discord.
I think it's just Discord. Yeah, it's just playing games.
okay.
Wow.
So we haven't seen much of Middle America, and so we're gonna probably see that. They might even expand it up into Canada or down. We don't know, because we don't know what's going on in the Fallout universe outside of America. I mean, the nuclear bombs blew up everywhere, all over the world. We don't know what's going on outside, so it'd be cool to see them expand upon that kind of lore,
Yeah.
especially since Fallout 4 introduced super big Zeppelin-like airships.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no reason that they can't expand upon some of that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, so I gotta go in a minute, but before I go, I want to ask y'all what y'all think about if we're gonna get any info, if we're gonna see anything on Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm looking forward to that probably more than just about anything else, other than maybe Kingdom Hearts. And so I am just like eager to hear something or see something. They've been showing us little snippets of battle systems and, you know, cutscenes and stuff. What do you guys think?
I honestly don't think we will, because
I
they've
mean-
literally taken back everything Party Studio was creating and basically scrapped it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's in a lot of trouble right now. I don't think that it's dead.
Right.
I think they might show us something just to kind of keep interest going.
Appease the people.
Yeah, but
To appease the people.
I've heard a lot about both Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts people losing interest because it's just been so long.
Well, yeah, I
And-
mean, That's totally
Yeah.
understandable.
Yeah,
That
so
makes
I mean, I'm thinking they're gonna try something to at least try to get some hype back up. Is it gonna be something big? I'm not gonna hold my breath because, like you just said, Brew, they had to restart everything, so they're in a bad spot right now.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly, and it sucks that they took that path. I mean,
Announcing
What
Final
they-
Fantasy VII on Xbox 360.
right?
Ooh.
Exactly. I mean, they had something amazing. We were talking about like they showed us some great detail. We saw this great. Well, I mean, it was going to be the battle system of Kingdom Hearts. That's all we knew, and they were showing some great demos. And to just come up and be like, okay, we're just going to trash this and let's move on to the new one. It's disappointing. Like Bruce said, are we going to see anything about it other than maybe a trailer, maybe like a little trailer show? This is what we have so far. That's it.
Well,
You
here's the
know?
thing. The reason they didn't like it was because Square Enix said, Square Enix. I almost called them SquareSoft for a second.
We're getting
That's
old.
dating myself. Square Enix said they didn't like the episodic style that the third party was going with,
Right.
because they originally wanted to sell it in a way that it was episodic, kind of like how Telltale Games does their series.
Yeah, exactly.
And they
Yeah.
did not like that. They wanted it to be a whole game.
I thought they wanted
And I-
episodic. I'm so confused.
Well, no, that wasn't Square
Kazoo,
Enix that wanted it that way. That was the company that was, working on the remaster with them. They were going to
Yeah.
be my understanding, it made sense, but I still didn't want it. My understanding was that they wanted to do so much with what we had already and expand upon things that it would require it to be episodic, and each episode would be more than an episode in a regular, like in one of these Telltale episode games. It would be like basically a full game almost, because of how much they wanted to go in depth with this stuff.
Mhm.
And because of the size of the assets compared to what they were before, and because of, being able to explore. It was kind of like that versus not being able to go to houses you used to be able to go to, like in Cloud's hometown and stuff like that. So that was my understanding, is why that was even any approach at all. But I'm also at the point where I'm like, okay, the technology we have, the games we've seen, I don't believe it's not possible for them to make one game and still encompass all.
Mhm.
Well, the reason why they were originally doing that, and the
Time.
it was time.
Yeah.
Square Enix wanted it out by the end of next year. That was Square Enix's timetable. They said, for the quality that you want, you're crazy. So we can do it episodic, get out multiple different things, but there will be a staggered release then, and then it'll fit within your time constraint.
No, exactly, and
Yeah.
I mean, you want a good game. I personally didn't like the whole episodic thing. I didn't agree with it. I would have waited. Honestly, I would have waited. But we'll see where we are now. I mean, honestly, like
Rigo, you're
I'm
you're-
very depressed about it.
You're cutting. You're like staticky.
And the echo's back.
Yep.
Really badly.
Damn you, Discord.
See, I almost want to know, like, does everybody have their browser muted?
Yep.
Mine's muted. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know then. See, the moment
Yeah,
I say
I
it
have-
away.
I have my YouTube muted.
Well, the
But yes,
delay is so
Have
quick.
Actually, I know what I could do. My computer's been
Now, how about this, guys? So I noticed that Capcom doesn't have anything announced or anything like that. I mean,
No, they did announce.
they didn't.
I want Ghost Trick
looking at it
2.
right now. There's nothing there.
They announced. They said that they're going to be showing Mega Man. The
Oh, Brew, you cut out completely.
Brew, you cut out bad.
hello.
There we go.
Hey, there you are.
All we heard is they're gonna do Mega Man, and that was
Oh.
it.
Yeah, the Mega Man 11. They're showing off. They're showing off something
Sure.
Resident Evil. Showing off the American release of Monster Hunter Double Cross, which English is Generations Ultimate.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're showing off stuff, but it's nothing mind blowing.
No,
They're
no.
gonna
That's what
have
I'm
they're
saying.
gonna
They're
have, they're gonna have a small booth. I mean,
Yeah, no, I'm
Capcom
talking
has
about,
neutered
like-
themselves.
Yeah, I'm
straight
talking
up.
about like they're not showing anything like big. What they're saying here is they're gonna do their booth. We all know they do a booth.
Yeah.
That's fine. But the only thing here is like, from what I'm seeing, I guess it's like gonna be PlayStation and Xbox. Whenever they announce a game, that's where they're gonna be showing. They're not doing anything for themselves.
No,
basically-
Capcom
You
has
know.
neutered themselves just because of how they've treated their IPs.
Mhm.
I mean, they
Yeah.
have angered their developers so many times, and it started with the Mega Man franchise back during the start of the 3DS's lifespan. Mega
Yeah.
Man had 7 games coming out. 7. There was a mobile
Yeah.
one, there was a 3DS one, a console one. There's a whole bunch of them. And Capcom said, "You know what? No, no.
JK.
And so the developer, I forget his name. I should know his name because I love Mega Man games. But he
Eiji
basically
Inafune?
said, yeah, he basically said, "Screw it, we're going. I'm gonna go make my own thing. I'm gonna go make my own game video. It's gonna have Mega Man knockoffs and other things."
And also fail really hard.
And
Yeah,
not give you
yeah,
anything that they promised.
Well, that was
Oh,
Yeah.
is that,
Hour-long
is that
credit.
Mighty Number 9?
yeah,
Yeah,
that was his
yeah.
thing.
Horrible
Okay,
number. I
so-
mean, my number 9.
Resident Evil 2. What are you guys hoping to see?
Not a Resident Evil
Nothing.
person, so
I
got
mean-
nothing on this one.
I
I
mean,
want
it's
Ghost
Resident
Trick
Evil.
2
I mean,
from
what more?
Capcom.
It's a horror game. It's a horror adventure game. I mean, what more can you do with it? Go ahead, Chadley. I saw your hands up.
Look, I think for Resident Evil 2, like I'm a big Resident Evil fan. Everybody knows
What?
I am.
No way.
You know, that's not,
Oh,
it's not-
really?
it's not a secret. But Resident Evil 2, it made me very nervous. But from what I'm reading here, we're looking at a couple of different details they want to do. They're saying they're looking into adding the first-person view because people have been requesting it, which is very nice. I mean, it gave us a different perspective of Resident Evil 2. They're making it bigger in the city now, so you can do more in the city, and they're going to focus a lot into developing more of a story for each character. Okay, that's cool. Fantastic. You know, I think for Resident Evil 2, if you're going to be in the city, you're bringing back lickers, you're bringing back zombies, a VR would be very nice to see that game go into.
Yeah, that would be cool if they did like Resident Evil
Here-
7.
Like, could
So-
you imagine a liquor right in front of you? Like this huge, ugly thing just staring at you?
See, the
That'd be
problem,
like crazy.
the problem with the VR, and it's let's take the Fallout 4 VR because it's probably the most advanced VR that would be similar to what you're looking for the Resident Evil.
No.
When you move around in that, you literally have to be like point click, and it moves you to that position. There is no just
Skyrim
moving.
moves. Skyrim
No,
moves.
Skyrim moves. Resident Evil.
But
Resident
you're
Evil
talking about VR.
Yeah, Skyrim
yeah.
moves in VR.
Resident Evil
Skyrim has
7
100
moves
locomotion.
really well.
It's rough. They give you the point and click because the vomiting that people experience.
I
That-
I am the
and
perfect
that is the
example of that.
issue.
Local,
That is-
smooth
that is the
locomotion is
issue.
terrible for me.
Yeah, and
That is-
that's just
that's
an
why I
issue
don't
of
see it
VR in
being-
general.
That's why I don't see them bringing that to VR.
But
Yeah.
they did it in Resident Evil 7. They did it in Skyrim, and it's doable.
It's just not good.
Yeah, I just don't know if it's worth the risk. But I would personally like it. If it's already in 7, I could just see them using the same kind of engine to just move it over.
Yeah.
Like for somebody like me, I did have a lot of issues with VR for about a week. And now I can play 3 hours straight in full locomotion with absolutely no comfort features,
You
and I'm
got your
fine.
VRC legs, so to speak.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, but some people never get them, right? Some people
No,
can play
motion
for
sickness.
hours and just absolutely get sick every single time.
Yeah.
Then you have other people that put it on and never experience sickness. So it's a really big hit and miss. I'm gonna remain hopeful that they do VR, but I'm gonna be realistic and say they probably won't do anything overly fancy. They might do
Mhm.
like a couple of experiences within Resident Evil, like you could explore the entrance of the police station and a couple of rooms or something like that.
I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff with VR, by the way, because I feel like a lot of those experiences can end up being really fun
Mhm.
and really immersive, a lot more immersive than some games, because I feel like sometimes in the games things don't translate over as well as like the base experience where they're not focusing on you playing or focusing on you doing different things.
Mm-hmm.
And so experiences are I'm enjoying those a lot right now.
Yeah. See, and for
Yeah.
me, like where it becomes risky is when they start cutting corners, right? When they start reducing things in order to make the VR work, that's where it doesn't pay
Yeah.
off. Resident Evil 7 though, and Skyrim are my two prime examples of games that did it very well, where I felt more immersed with the VR, because we've talked about Bethesda. I don't like any of those games. Not a fan of Skyrim or any of the Elder Scrolls. I don't like any
You
of
broke
the.
my heart.
I
You
know,
broke
right?
My heart.
Can I right click and ban him? Will that work?
they've just never been my thing. I just don't have. I don't like the whole having kind of freedom to do whatever I want. I want a story to tell me what to do.
Can I ask you a question then?
Mhm.
what did you feel about Breath of the Wild?
I liked it.
Ooh.
I never beat it.
You never beat it?
Nope. It's
I don't,
been sitting.
I don't blame you. I don't blame
So,
you.
but like for
You're
me,
fine.
when I put on the VR, I played. I think it was in 3 days. I played about 40 hours of Skyrim. Just like I was in it the whole time, just playing constantly because the VR changed it for me. It made it a world. It wasn't just me wandering aimlessly, right? And Resident Evil 7, same thing. Like I'm not. I used to not be a screamer. Now that I'm on stream, I happen to do it more. But Resident Evil 7 started that for me because of the jump scares work a lot more in the VR realm. But there's so many risks to it that it makes it really hard to bet any money on it.
And here's the other thing is that the sales of VR has plummeted so much, and I know that it could be the next big thing for gaming, but the hardware costs and then the fact that the overall sales are plummeting, gamers as a whole are contributing to the death of VR again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, okay, so I would have to say I haven't looked up any stats on, but I'm pretty sure that right now is an amazing time to pick up VR because VR is now no longer a market that only exists for PSVR, Oculus, and Vive. There are now what they call mixed reality headsets, which have driven there's so many of them that it's driven the price down ridiculously. I bought a Lenovo Explorer mixed reality headset, came with 2 controllers, which are basically very close to what like the Vive controllers, I think, and the headset, and it was $280.
Boom.
Oh, wow.
All
So
of them are pretty
affordable.
close. They're pretty close to that. They're usually they're anywhere between about $300 and $400 typically for the full setup with controllers. And these don't need the tracking sensors or anything. It's all done in the headset. So that was just kind of a thing. But because the price is so competitive now, I think it's a great time for gamers to get into VR. Now you still need a good PC setup, so it's not cheap.
you
still.
do?
Well, yeah, you're gonna need a good setup, because
Yeah.
it's. But the thing is, if you've already got a good setup, let's say, and you like me, I had a good setup already. I built me a computer, less than a year ago, top of the line, everything. Just got me a brand new 1080 graphics. Of course, I'm gonna want a nice because it looks beautiful. It's got dual 1440p lenses on the inside instead of just one 1080p or dual 1080ps. I mean, it looks crisp and it works great. It tracks beautifully and all, and the games are all just about all compatible with it on Steam. So I think right now is the time to get into VR.
Yeah, and kind of going on what you guys are saying and what chat is saying. So with what Corey's saying, I think it is a really great time. That's why prices are being driven down and they're being more competitive and everything. But going off of Brew and the chat, it is very niche, which part of it is the price. I think it'll be less niche when the price is driven down. So that is going to help because a lot of people look at it and go $500 for an experience. It's not worth it.
Exactly.
So it's hard. As the price goes down with what Corey's saying, more people will be able to buy it. And then in turn, more people will experience it and see that it's not like 3D. 3D was a gimmick. When you had a 3D TV, it was like it added to it.
I don't know. The 3DS did a pretty good job.
It did, but it didn't add anything to the experience like that changed it, right? Like you didn't go in 3D, this is like night and day, and in not 3D, it's totally different.
The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3DS, Super Mario 3D World. I mean, those 3D elements, even in Animal Crossing, I mean, it added such a depth that when you played with it and then you turned it off, the game felt so much different.
It did feel different, but that's like comparing like on Mario Maker, comparing Super Mario World to the new Super Mario Bros. It's like it's different and it does add things, but it wasn't a change in the experience. Whereas like going from 2D to 3D was a jump, and going from 3D to VR is another jump because when you can move your head 1-to-1, like I tried the Samsung VR and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool, but whatever. But when I tried true VR on my PSVR, it was night and day with the experience. Like you can look around, like even playing that robot game that came out on the PSVR, the little demo that they had, it looked like a table with toys. And it was so different. I'm assuming Lucky's Tale is the same thing, where it's like it's a very, very different experience. Whereas 3D was just an element on top of what's already there. Whereas this really changed everything that's there. So I think once it's more accessible, it'll become less niche, but the motion sickness will always maintain it being a smaller group versus just a widespread gaming thing.
And also one thing, just one last thing to add about the VR, when you're talking about the motion sickness for me personally was drastically reduced going from the PSVR to a real like a PC headset.
Mhm.
To a good because it's the screen door effect is so much more reduced. The resolution is a lot better and it tracks better and everything. So as a higher quality headset,
Mhm.
I felt I've gotten a tiny bit of motion sickness. I played Minecraft for a few minutes in VR, which is a really cool thing. I mean, I know it sounds simple, but it's so cool.
No, but it
You
makes a
can,
huge
grab the
difference.
Controller,
It
you
makes
can
a
see
difference.
everything.
Yeah.
But
You
it's
can like keep
because
up
it's
what you're gonna
smooth
do.
locomotion, it does make me sick. But it's not like instant, I'm gonna vomit.
Mhm.
Whereas like anything with any form of smooth locomotion on a PSVR was like instantly I've had to like quickly take off the headset on stream one time
Mhm.
because I was sure I was going to vomit.
Mm-hmm. And I think
Did you?
going back to what my brother
No.
said about how the PS5, like if it potentially
Wait, you
comes,
have a
it'll have
brother?
VR support. We've been dealing with that all week. Like my brother was saying with the PS5, like there's rumors that if they do it, there'll be integrated VR, support or whatever. That's probably what they're going for, is to up the game so then it reduces that problem for more people.
Yeah.
And I think that would help as well to reach out to bigger masses. Because, like I said, when I play things in VR, I've played Resident Evil 7 in VR and out of VR. I like it in the regular screen. I enjoy it way more, at least twice as much in VR, because the moments of, you open the fridge door and you can look at the maggots and you can like get right close to them and you feel that nastiness, right?
Nasty.
Yeah. So I think it has to be more accessible. Once it's more accessible, it'll definitely become less niche.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Craziness. So much.
So guys, I know you guys were talking about Resident Evil 7 earlier.
Mhm.
Apparently, there's like some breaking news that just was released from Capcom, like
Oh,
about
yeah?
15 minutes ago,
Oh.
about
boy.
about a cloud version being released for the Switch.
What?
What?
There's a catch. There's a catch though.
Of course
Oh,
there is.
yes.
Right now, yeah. So it's a cloud version. So they're basically going to be streaming it, similar to how like PlayStation does with some of their games, where it streams to the console from their servers.
Oh yeah, PlayStation Now.
Yeah. So this cloud version works that way, and right now it appears to be Japanese only.
Oh.
Okay.
So-
Oh, like Phantasy Star Online.
Well,
Yeah.
so here's the thing. So this kind of reminds me of.
Don't even get me started about Phantasy Star Online. 'Cause I love that series, and Sega has hurt me so bad. I mean, they hurt me bad.
So talking about like cloud streaming and possibilities of stuff on the Switch like that. Had you guys heard? You probably have, but because this was kind of big breaking news for at one point. I want to say it's in Japan. The NVIDIA Shield has, or a thing very similar to it anyway, has Wii games
Yeah, I've seen
Oh
that.
yes, I heard about that. Yes.
functioning on it
Well, that was because Nintendo struck a deal with
Yeah,
NVIDIA for
with
that.
NVIDIA.
Yeah, which we
Right.
do.
Okay. And so that just brings me a lot of hope that we actually might see like Wii games and stuff actually, available on the Switch, because it's basically the same hardware.
But here's the thing: we already saw Wii games available on the Wii U,
right. Okay. But
like digital downloads.
yeah, no, I get that, and that's great. But what I'm saying is now we see that it exists on the same hardware, as what we have right now, as
I
this
mean,
little device right here. I'm just saying it brings me hope.
You're not the only
So-
one. I've got one right here too. You're not the only one.
Oh my
I mean-
god!
I mean-
We're all showing them off.
to add a little bit to the Wii U
Perhaps
one,
you're not
I mean,
showing him.
remember, like we're doing backwards compatibility here. When you load up, and this is because I'm playing Mario Galaxy at the moment. When you load up the Wii game Mario Galaxy, it loads, kicks you out, and it loads up.
Into the Wii
The
itself,
Wii.
basically. Yeah.
Exactly. So this would be different for the Switch though, because I mean, you load it, it would actually work on the Switch. Like you're talking about now the actual thing.
Yeah.
Without that having to go back looking for the main, what would you call it? I guess the BIOS of the Wii.
The Wii itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you're running right into, you go, okay, you're using the everything that
See, here's the thing: is I don't think that's a big deal because Naughty Brew, I modded my SNES.
Me too.
And it allowed you to put the other emulators on. It is not hard to just put an emulator in that is something different that Nintendo made specifically, and then upload their version of whatever a ROM or ISO for a Wii game would be, and have it run. Because I mean, with the NES or with the SNES Classic, you can play certain N64 games on them. Like it
Yeah,
can
but
fully play.
That's also not by
But
default using
That's
their
not
own.
exactly.
I know, but I'm saying if a third party can do it, there is no reason.
Well, yeah,
No,
but
no, no,
that
but
was
there's
just
a
my
difference there.
point, right? Is that yes,
I mean,
that's a
if
thing that could happen for
yeah,
us.
if a third party, like that's a third party though, somebody sat down and worked very hard to make sure this has to work and this has to do it this way. I mean, if you were to do it now, it's gonna take us months and months and months to get it working. This person sat down for hours and days figuring out what's gonna work for the SNES. It's the same thing. You can't just say, okay, well, I got it to work. No, you didn't get it to work. You figured out a way as somebody who did it, and then you put it on.
But here's the thing that I'm gonna say is that
Right.
that's a person right there. Maybe been one, maybe three people. Nintendo has networks and huge amounts of people that they could put on this and probably have it hashed out in like a day or so. Because look at they've jailbreaked the Switch already, and I mean that was within the first like 3 months. And then if you look at the SNES, I mean that came out at the beginning of this year, or not, beginning of last year, and I mean I think they modded that within what 5-6 months. And I mean
the
that's
SNES Classic.
yeah.
No, that was modded like the SNES Classic. I had mine modded the day of.
Yeah, because the NES
Put out
one
a video the
existed right
day
away.
of.
Exactly. But I mean,
So-
like, again, it comes down to the difference is Nintendo's gonna have the actual everything to make sure it works 100%, no issues. I mean, when you did the emulation on PC, you either never got the right sound, or you never got the right color, or you were having trouble running a game.
Yeah,
Whereas-
it always has something.
It always has something. Where that's where the NES Classic comes in. Where that one you did it, you mod it to run the games. But now what we're talking about is Nintendo's already done the work for you. You know,
Yeah.
it's running 110% everything because Nintendo's the one who did it. They're the ones that said, okay, look, it has all the hardware. You're running all of these games that they didn't come out with the game, right? So it's like, thank you, Nintendo. So it's the same thing here. It's going to be perfect. Somebody could already do it on, let's say they jailbreak the Switch. They already did it. And then you can play Wii games, right? But that person who did that Wii emulator isn't going to be 110% perfect. Let's say where Nintendo releases and says, here's the emulator for the Wii. And you're like, wow, this is working perfect.
Perfect. Yeah.
That's all. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
right?
no, I mean, that's really good points. Both of you have good points. I mean, there's
Mhm.
neither of you are wrong by any means. You know,
No,
But
it's
it
my
leaves the
channel,
door
all
open.
right.
It leaves the door open.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, exactly. There's a lot of possibilities here. How do we get back from Nintendo?
I know,
from
every
about
time,
Resident
every
Evil?
time it's Nintendo.
Every time.
I hate to say it, but
It was all
We
Chadley's
will
fault
always-
this
we
time.
will always
I
circle
told you
back to
every
Nintendo
15
because they're
minutes.
the best.
Blame it on Chadley.
Well, hey, can we go back to something that I know Rigo can't see it because as soon as he moves his Discord, it changes what everyone's seeing. But Corey did post something in our little group here.
Yeah, and these are from Trema, by the way. He's watching us. Posted in my Discord a bunch of his predictions and all, and I wasn't gonna talk about them all, but I just figured in case we wanted to talk about any of them, there's a whole bunch of stuff that he.
Well, I'd
He
like to
thought
clear
about-
up some of those wild card announcements. F-Zero has been confirmed.
Has it? I know
Yes,
that
it
it's
has.
actually been confirmed. Okay.
I have seen confirmation through the No.
Okay.
Does
Through
anyone
the
else?
no, wait, what?
But all we heard is through the no.
The No is Rooster Teeth's video game
Mhm.
news channel.
Yeah. Oh, I
And
know.
they- and
oh, I
they
didn't
went-
know
Rooster
they were-
Teeth, yeah.
I
They
didn't
went
know they
through-
were Rooster Teeth, but I have seen some of the nose videos.
Yeah,
But-
they're through Rooster Teeth. But
Really?
they said that F-Zero is a part of the, and that this is and that Nintendo is really doing it. So I'm
I think he's
actually
messing with us with voice cut now.
really excited to see that because as much as I love Mario Kart, F-Zero is just gonna be real racing, not so much item spam,
Okay.
throwing blue shells, red shells everywhere.
But like,
Lightning.
I don't know because the no,
Lightning.
I feel like they kind of sensationalize some things. Like I honestly, I'll admit that I haven't watched one of their videos in a while.
Well, let's keep away from that because I mean they are a different. We don't interact with them, so I'm just telling you where I've heard it. So I mean
Sure.
that wild card.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know
Makes
that's why I'm saying I don't necessarily if like
Most things that
if
they've
they're
ever
the
posted
only
has been
source-
news. It has been news.
Yeah.
They
What was I
they,
gonna say?
they don't really do too much rumor mill stuff. And
Hey,
when
you know
they
what?
do, it's their podcast.
How about this one? We'll move away from that, but how about this one? And this is going to come back to Nintendo always.
Of course.
What
Always,
about
always.
Super Mario Odyssey DLC? Now, I've heard people say, "Oh,
Want it.
confirmed
No,
that such
no.
and such is existing," and you know, like what, 400 moons per this character getting added or whatever. And I don't know. I didn't see any of the information. I've just heard people in Discord and stuff talking about it constantly.
Same. I heard about it too. Well, people on Discord talking.
And that's
I mean,
all I've heard.
Me personally, I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want the DLC for it just because it. First of all, it took forever to get 9999. Second of all, I mean, I think it was a good game where it stands. We already got the Luigi balloon thing. I mean, adding just more
Yeah.
DLC to it, just for what, extra character?
You're
Or
beating
are
a
they
dead
gonna?
horse at that point.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's fine the way it is now.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah,
that's
mean-
my
Great
opinion.
game.
Though. That's
People are
my
still
opinion.
playing it, still enjoying it.
Yeah. I
But-
mean,
I hate to say this though. I mean, it's a good game, but I don't see myself going back to it like I've done with like Super Mario World or 64. I hate to say it.
Yeah,
no,
me
you don't
either.
have to.
I'm with you, Brew.
I haven't touched it. Bro. Like what do I speed run? Mario 64. I haven't touched Mario Odyssey since.
Well,
I
it's the same. It's the same
100%ed it.
problem with Breath of the Wild. Like,
Wait,
it
what
was
game
good.
again? I've never heard of that
I-
game.
it was good. I enjoyed it, but I mean, it's not like I want to go back and play it like I want to play Link to the Past or Majora's Mask or something like that.
I mean, that one's a little hard for me because I've gone back several times with it, and I'm really enjoying it. I can still go back to it now. You know, since I've beaten it, I'm like for DLC. I have all the DLC now, and I keep going back because it's a good game.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's another rumor that I've heard that you could throw in that wild card section is
Mm.
being in development because Nintendo put out a job placement that was
Oh,
similar
that.
to the Breath of the Wild's
Mhm.
job placement
Ah,
on their
yes.
boards,
Mhm.
and so it might be in production. I want to say.
Mm.
Yeah, I heard the
But
same thing.
I-
I heard about how they have the rumor that like they're hiring for something, right?
Yeah.
So they don't know if it's going to be a 3DS Zelda because they don't want to let 3DS die. I'm hoping that it's another one for the Switch that'll come out in a couple of years, so it'll give Breath of the
Yeah.
Wild a nice
Here's
life.
the problem with the
Exactly.
3DS. If they want to keep that alive, they really gonna have to the increased processor in the new 3DS.
Mm.
Because I mean
Yeah.
they did that with a few games, but I mean I think there was only a handful, like the re-release of Xenoblade Chronicles on the 3DS. I mean it was only
Yeah.
for the new 3DS, but other than that, I don't think I can name, besides the SNES Virtual Console,
There,
that I can name for the new 3DS.
there's only, I think in America, that's all we got.
Mhm.
Like, I don't think there were other games, and I think that's a problem because
Mhm.
it was such a good advancement for the processor. Well, apparently, anyway. You know, I don't know all the specific details, but apparently, it was such a big advancement that they were able to put games like, you know, Xenoblade Chronicles onto the 3DS, which is pretty incredible if you ask me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was a Wii
But
game.
it was-
I mean,
Yeah, it was, but it's really sad to me because I've thought about that a lot. That we haven't gotten. I mean, we don't need to get like Wii ports constantly or whatever, but for no other games to really want to take advantage of that.
well, I
it
guess
was kind of
I
a
was-
bummer.
I mean, for myself, I was really disappointed that, you know, they announced Luigi's Mansion, and I was hoping it was going to be for the
Oh.
Switch, and it turned out to be for the
So mad about
3DS.
that.
I thought
For the
I can
3DS.
see Corey's
Well,
heart just
That's
breaking.
the other thing. That's the other
that
thing.
hurt me.
Did you guys
That
hear
hurt me.
about what
Hey,
You're
Paul, how you
cutting
doing,
out.
buddy?
You're cutting out,
Did we
dude.
hear about what?
Did you hear about?
they're creating Luigi's Mansion that has both games for the Switch.
Oh, really? I never
Yeah,
heard.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, I haven't heard of
didn't
that.
hear
Yeah,
that.
I didn't hear that.
I've heard that around, and that they're
Apparently,
creating
we need to be
two-
talking to Brandon here about all of our. We need to be getting all of our from him, all of our info from him.
I'm sorry. I literally I watch like 3 to 5 news videos about video game news that are
Yeah, I'm not up on news. I just see a bunch of rumor mill stuff, and that's basically how it goes. I mean,
There's.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
there's so much. There's so much news.
And a
There
lot of it
is.
is rumors, right? So it's tough.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, is that a lot of the stuff that they are saying though is from people who teach stuff in the past that have been shown to be reliable.
Yeah.
And so that's why there's certain channels that I watch that only take it from reliable sources.
Hmm.
So I mean, but
Yeah.
I mean I think that's kind of exciting. I mean,
All
I
right.
get that it's a port, but I mean, it's a
Yeah.
good port to have. I mean, I'd love to see an updated version of the GameCube Luigi's Mansion
Yep.
that
I never
runs
played
a
it,
bit-
so
that
Yeah, I
runs
would
a
love
bit
to see that.
cleaner.
But speaking
For
about
sure.
ports, what about Dark Souls?
hey,
I'm not happy about that. I'm not happy about that.
I'm mad about the delay because now I'm just kind of like, well, I could probably get it cheaper and of course quicker on PC.
Well, what do you guys think about the fact that they're adding an easy mode to Dark Souls?
I'm bad
I
at
think
games like that, so that's great.
yeah, but
I'm not.
that-
See these two guys right here? I don't know where they are.
I think you
They're
take away
they're
the
good.
fun of a game like Dark Souls when you add an easy mode, because the fun of Dark Souls is how punishing it is.
Okay, I agree with you to a point, right? Because some people really enjoy that. That's
Yeah.
great. Other people,
But
I'm not
see,
gonna
then
say I want to play an easy game necessarily, but I want to be able to enjoy the game, and sometimes challenges like that are too much for me.
I understand
I'll
that,
just
but I
admit-
mean,
so
we're
I don't
going
think
into the
it takes
whole
away the fun.
Cuphead argument. A
I
lot
don't
of
know.
people were upset that Cuphead was as hard as it was, and they felt like they got gypped when they bought it because they couldn't play through it because they didn't have either the Twitch skills or the patience to actually play through the levels multiple times.
See, but I'm not talking about getting this. It's not the same argument for me because I'm not talking about getting upset about how difficult Dark Souls is. I'm just saying that I'm not bothered by an easy mode added because for me, challenges in games like that sometimes are just too much for me. Again, like I said, and so while I wouldn't be upset about it, having an easier mode would make it better on me.
See, and now
Personally.
for somebody who's been really experienced in Dark Souls, like I'm not anywhere near as good as my brother is. I have a really hard time playing by myself. I found that it's actually easier when you play online. So to kind of play both sides of the argument, when you make it too easy, it kind of destroys what Dark Souls is about, because the whole point is to get the
Yeah.
beat the challenge, right? When you beat the
Sure.
challenge, you're like, oh wow, it's amazing. And Dark Souls doesn't have this deep, awesome story to really make it worth it when it's easy. Like when it's easier,
Yeah.
you don't get
Oh.
anything out of it because there's no deep story or anything fun to really experience. You're just going from boss to boss to boss. On the other hand, by making it easier, they're going to make it more accessible, going back to the whole VR thing. They're going to make it more accessible, which in turn could add more people to the Dark Souls bandwagon and could potentially drive more games like this to come out.
But see,
But-
then I fear that that's a slippery slope that we start falling into, where, because I really think the last like 5 to 10 years of games have been just too easy.
Agree 100%.
Agreed.
So
That-
I
that-
can agree with
So-
that, but
So Pokemon Black and White 2 is my best example of this. There was a mode in Black and White 2 for Pokemon because Nintendo realized that there were people who really wanted an easier version of Pokemon and people who wanted a really harder version of Pokemon. So Pokemon White 2 and Black 2 had an unlock code where you could trade or you could get unlock codes where it would make it either harder or easier. And by harder, that means the level, all the Pokemon's level increase would increase by 5 and trainers would have an additional Pokemon. Easier mode levels would be decreased by 5. It was a nice way of trying to cater to both sides, and maybe that's what Dark Souls is trying to do. But as a whole, I feel like them taking a hard game that's hard to begin with, that is purposely hard, and then making it easier, like the Funky Kong mode in Tropical Freeze. I hate that. I hate that
Really?
they did that.
Okay,
I
so-
do.
So
I hate
while
that.
I can understand your frustration, here's the question I have to ask about that, right? How does that detract from the gameplay for you? How does
Yeah.
I feel that the original Donkey Kong countries are so much more
Okay,
because
but
they're harder.
an easier
Because-
okay, but having two game modes, one easier and one hard, the doesn't detract from your gameplay at all. You play the normal mode, like the
Yeah,
easier,
you
I mean the
play-
harder mode. or
Yeah.
whatever.
But here's the thing: is
So
that
it's
you
not-
create this
Yeah.
standard. You create this standard.
But there's no
for-
problem with having a standard that makes it accessible to other people.
See,
Yes,
now
it
I
does,
think
because-
what Brew's trying to get to, and this is where I stand with Brew on this part, only
Okay.
because of this, is it's easy to fall down that slope, right? So like look what happened with Nintendo. The first Mario games were extremely hard. They were not for everybody to play. And then they started making them a little more accessible, and now Mario Odyssey, you have no punishment for getting game over.
No.
So it's like it's easy to fall down that slope. So there is a danger. I'll say that much.
I mean,
there is a danger.
I guess, but I mean, Odyssey didn't bother me in that respect at all.
I hate Mario Odyssey that there is no punishment. I hate Mario Odyssey because you can't even drown.
Yeah, so I mean, in that aspect, it's like that's where it does affect my gameplay, right? Where it's like it's super challenging and I get punished.
In a game, like the two examples that we were just mainly using for the moment were Dark Souls and Donkey Kong, right? Both of which have retained their normal difficulty, their normal challenge mode, But then in addition to that, they offer up something more accessible to other players.
But
I don't see an issue.
The problem is that you coddle the players from actually developing a skin about video games, and that's the slippery slope. You have an entire generation.
I'm gonna bow out of this conversation.
Yeah, for me, like I don't mind that they're doing it to Dark Souls.
You're okay. I'm not mad, but I'm gonna bow out of the.
You're gonna agree to disagree.
We have clearly two different opinions.
Well,
and
let me use a real life example, okay?
Sure.
We have the game Battletoads.
Okay.
We all know that that game is super difficult.
Sure.
There's these kids that I used to babysit since they were born, and so I've kind of been the one who's introduced video games to them because their parents are all sports. So anything video games is stuff that I
ruin their future.
But one loves the challenge. He plays Fortnite. He plays games, and even when he loses, it hypes him to continue the challenge. The other one hits a hard point. And because he played so many easier games, like the updated version of Battletoads where you could rewind on the Xbox, because that was the rare collection had a rewind feature. When he hits a challenge, he quits. He just straight up quits and never touches again. His brother plays Fortnite. He played Fortnite for about a month. He really liked it, and then he started getting his butt kicked, and now he just won't touch it. And that is my problem. My problem is when we make games so easy that when an actual difficult game comes up, the people who are so used to easier games just quit. And that's not fair. That's really conditioning.
Because then the people who want easier games will just play easier games, and the people who want harder games will play the harder games.
Yeah, I mean, going with Kazoo there, and even going with Corey here, in the end, I don't like sports because they're hard. And I'll never like sports because they're hard. That's not going to affect a soccer player from enjoying soccer. So my only concern is that they can easily fall down that slope that Nintendo has fallen down. That's my only concern. I don't care that they're doing it. But yeah, like I don't care that they're doing it. I think it's good to open up the door for other people to enjoy the game. Maybe this game might not be the best choice because it doesn't have a story. Because my other concern is the easier mode will show these players that there's nothing else there besides the difficulty, and then they're going to go, well, this game sucked, and then they're going to hate it. So then that's going to actually make more people dislike the game than already do. But my concern is the long run. What will happen? As we've seen with the game genre as it is, it's all gotten easier. Will that happen to everything? Because like I said, Mario Odyssey, I've lost interest because it's so easy. Getting it, like I read somebody in there saying, it's easier, but there's a challenge of getting 100%. I'm not 100% on anything. It's a challenge to get 100% in any game. I don't have interest in that at all. So to me, that's not actually a bonus point. That's actually more of a detraction. It's I want a game that gives me a challenge just to complete it.
I mean, there's certain games that I like the 100% idea, like Majora's. They do it very well, but games like Mario Odyssey and even Breath of the Wild, the Korok seeds, nothing against you guys doing that because I know you guys did the moons and the Korok seeds, but I think that is nails on a chalkboard, pull out your hair, terribly boring because what do you get from it? Yes, you 100% completed it. Congratulations.
You get a shiny poop.
That's how I'm with any 100%. That's how I'm with any 100%. That's not just that game for me, but any 100%. I'm just like, I don't. It's like the platinuming on PlayStation or whatever. It's just like,
bragging rights. That's it.
Yeah, it's like,
If I can just make one quick pun, all I can say is that I don't think that with Nintendo this is going to be a very.
Wait, you cut out.
Yeah, you did.
I was just saying that I don't think with Nintendo this is going to be a very slippery slope. At least until we get Mario Maker 2 with slips, you know. Then it might be a slippery slope.
Okay. So
Sorry.
let I was looking at your back screen there, Louis. Kingdom Hearts 3. What are you guys expecting?
Ta-da!
Yeah. What are you guys excited about?
Release date.
I mean,
That reminds me.
I'm expecting Marvel and Star. Disney does not jump on that. They are missing out for this. I want to see a Marvel world, and I played with the 7 Infinity Gems.
I mean, I was looking at pictures, and there's a rumor. This is just a rumor. It's not like somebody said. Apparently, that the Toy Story world, okay, there's gonna be secrets and hints for the new Toy Story movie. I don't know how true that is, but that's what they're saying.
No,
Yeah,
I would be
because
surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either. But let me tell you, I'm looking at the images for the Toy Story Kingdom Hearts area, and I mean, the game looks stupidly good.
Yeah, it looks
It
awesome.
looks amazing.
It does. It looks great.
Question though, I was watching the demos last night, like the gameplay or whatever. Are they using the original actors for the voices?
I don't know.
Because to me, it sounded like Woody and Buzz sounded different.
I don't think they're using the original actors for that.
Yeah,
Well,
if
here's
they're
the
not,
thing,
I'm concerned because I didn't like how they sounded in the demo. But I don't know if that was just the compression or if that was actually the voices.
That's probably gonna be the voices, because here's the thing: they didn't do the same voices for Jack Skellington. There was a lot of voice actors that into these games, because again, you got to think about some of the big names that are carried with those voice actors through Disney that Square Enix just does not want to pay the money for. I mean,
Yeah, and
straight
the
up,
concern that
that's
happens
true.
is like Skellington is a voice. I'm not a huge follower of the movie, so I don't know for sure. But with Woody and Buzz, it's just their voices. They're not making like a character voice. It's not like Goofy. You can get people to imitate Goofy. It's really hard to imitate a real person's natural voice. So the recordings I heard, I was a little disappointed with that. So I'm a little concerned of what's going to happen with the voice acting within the cutscenes.
Well, I mean, look at Genie. Genie was done by someone other than
Was
Robin
it done by
Williams?
the guy who voiced Homer?
Yeah, the Homer guy did Genie for at least the TV show.
I mean, when I heard his voice for the Genie in the game, there was something I kept saying. There's something off about it. I didn't like it. I don't know. I just didn't like his voice.
But see, that's the thing is they're gonna do that because they can't pay that kind of money for people. Or let's say even further than that, some of the voice actors might not be alive anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I just think it's that's something for me that's kind of a turn off. That's kind of one of those things that I'm like, when I saw that was the only thing I concentrated on the whole demo. I was like, it looks really pretty. I don't like their voices, so I'm not interested. That was just on Toy Story. I really want Kingdom Hearts 3, but that was just my Toy Story scene. I was like,
All right, guys, I've got to run.
Corey, what?
Oh, Corey, what?
We bow out to you,
Corey,
good sir.
what? Corey, what?
Chadley, you got to say Corey, what now?
Corey, what?
What?
What? What are you doing, Corey? You can't
No.
leave.
Never mind. I'm being told no. Okay. All right. I'm staying. I'll stay for a little while longer.
There you go.
Perfect.
I'm being told
I mean,
no.
you
I
don't
can't
know-
leave yet.
Okay,
Several people
so
say no.
You got me to talk, Corey. So now you got to stay.
No, I gotta stay. Look, Corey will stay.
So
So I saw I saw from the that Kingdom Hearts 3 premiere that they just had on like Friday, like 2 days ago. It was they said that they were gonna have the release date like within the next month. And so people are saying like, okay, that's either E3 or it's the Kingdom Hearts Orchestra that's happening that like 2 days before E3.
I think it would be silly to do it at King. Well, I mean, it's not that they haven't done stuff like that before, but I think it would be silly to do something.
No, I
right
don't feel
before
like the orchestra would be the place to have it, because like you think of the Zelda Symphony, like they're not gonna release like new information. Like say when I went to the Zelda Symphony like 3 years ago, they're
Mhm.
not gonna release new information on Breath of the Wild or like the release date for it at
Yeah.
that. Like it's just not a big enough event. Cause like
It's like,
so here's
yay!
the thing is that my
Ow.
like E3 is more mainstream, I guess, than
Well, I
like
mean,
Well, it's more
for
like
video games, right?
publicized
like
and
even
everything.
my advertising teacher last semester, like my teacher who knows nothing about video games knew what E3 was. So
Well, that's because E3 So if we take it, that is the North American equivalent of Comic-Con or World of Concrete for construction or whatever have you for the next thing.
World of Goo for
Yeah.
Goo.
It's basically yeah, we have stuff like PAX, and we've got the Penny Arcade, and we've got this and that, but E3 is where the big companies come in and do this. And for the longest time it has been closed to the public. I think
Yeah.
these last 2 years are the first years they've opened it up to the public because there was
Yeah.
such a demand for it. But it is still a video game conference for developers to show off what they are working on
Absolutely.
for
Yeah.
other developers to check it
Yeah,
out.
it's a
That
trade
is-
show, is what
It is. It's a trade show for people within the industry. They've opened it up to the
Right.
public because it's become such a big thing. We used to have stuff like Attack of the Show, who used to do on G4, who used to do huge like video, just breaking it down. Even Spike TV used to do it, but
Yeah.
apparently cable companies didn't like what they were showing or whatever, and they're
Oh,
making
I'm
the
sure.
Yeah.
there, and so it all went online. So now it's
Yeah.
all on Twitch. It's now all on YouTube, and
Yep.
that's what people had to think. But it wasn't the same as what the actual cable companies were covering it at that
Yeah.
they're doing with the Twitch or the YouTube. So they've opened it up to the public. Now it's not a lot of people. I mean, those tickets sell out fast.
had a
Yeah, and
coworker with this
I
last
remember
year- last year.
watching. I remember watching when they announced that they were going to open it up to public, and I can't remember who it was, but one of the people on YouTube that does news about video games, the big warning they had is it's not what you expect. Like these guys that go in and for the last 10 years or whatever that have done the game coverage were newscasters. They had to pull strings to play this game and to try it out, and a lot of average persons think that they're going to go and try these games, and it's like that's not what this is
No.
about. This is about
Oh, yeah.
news and getting it out there and propaganda, and for Walmart to
Yeah.
know what's coming up, and for Bethesda to know
Yeah.
what they're competing with. And
If you want to play games, go to PAX.
exactly.
Exactly.
yeah.
Right,
Yes.
right. We win.
Mhm.
We know.
Exactly.
So I mean, like, to go back to it, it is a trade show for
Mhm.
the industry. It's not so
Absolutely.
much for us. We
Yeah.
get a lot of news out of it.
Mhm.
But, I mean, think about, did you guys watch a lot of last year's and
Yeah.
what Nintendo was doing? They had lines going every which way. People didn't get to play nothing.
Hmm.
And that
Guys,
was just
I think we
Yeah.
can make this big enough that our podcast can get invited as press.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh yeah.
We
There
just
we
have to
go,
walk
let's
up
do
with
it.
press badges, be like, we're press
No.
guys.
We'll do as
Just
press.
keep hitting that like button, guys. Get us
Yeah.
invited to E3.
Yeah, that's it. We're gonna be famous.
quick. Get Rigo up to 1 million subscribers.
Guys, look, we got almost 60 likes on this. I'm just saying, so
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
All right.
fantastic.
But like, no, it's again like I know I'm excited. I'm just saying, like, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't lie. Now that being on YouTube, and I would love to go to E3 just to be able to come back and say, guys, here's my report. This is what I saw.
Hmm.
This is what's gonna happen. This was my experience. Not to go around saying this is what I played, because I did that at PAX. I told them this is what we played.
Hmm.
You know, so I'd rather just be telling them this is what this is the news. This is what's happening, or
Yeah.
the things that didn't show up for you guys, or like what they didn't see on the on online, and what we saw off the stages. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the whole deal with it. Other than that, I mean, if I'm gonna play a game, I'm gonna go to PAX, just like Corey said. I'm gonna go to PAX.
Hang out with
Yeah,
Corey
we
right
might
by the escalator and have some of that Italian ice.
Yeah, exactly.
I still can't believe you guys don't have Italian.
have Taco Palenque.
Yeah, have Taco
Oh
Palenque.
man,
Oh.
I didn't even get to go to Taco Palenque. Remember? Oh,
Next year, man. Next year.
Look, he's so sad about it now. Oh my goodness, I tell you. But there's a lot. I mean, so many things, many
Mhm.
things to happen.
So-
There's a lot.
Can I pull something back to E3 a little
Are we
bit?
going back to Nintendo?
No, we're actually going back to Capcom.
Oh man, I was hoping for Nintendo.
Yes.
No, just keep going.
Yeah,
All
keep
right,
going.
Mega Man 11. Do you feel like this is they're trying to test the waters to see if there's still a want for Mega Man games, or do you think this is just another one of the Legacy series? Because the Legacy series is literally a no effort money grab by Capcom to be all like, "Hey, we still have Mega Man. Here you go."
I mean, they're really pushing that Mega Man train, man. Like, I mean, I feel every 10 seconds I look, there's a Mega Man something coming out.
But
Mega
here's the
Man
thing:
Collection this.
it's just remakes. It's just re-releases.
That's
And
what I'm
that's,
saying.
and that's
Like,
why I say
there's
it's
so
a
much.
cheap money grab. It's just a cheap money grab.
I don't know, man. Like, it's lazy work, you know. ah, Capcom, you're
So
dying.
that's why I want to know. Do you guys think Mega Man 11 will be the resurgence of the Mega Man genre?
I don't think it will. I don't think so.
No.
I think it'll be I can't call it like a revival, but I think it will be like a renewed, refreshed interest for a while.
Yeah.
I just don't see them continue, like really keeping the series going after like the franchise. I mean, look how long it's been since we've had an actual Mega Man game. Now, and here's the other thing. Keiji Inafune is not working on this one, right?
Nope.
Because he does not work for Capcom any longer.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
That could mean bad things, or it could be fine. Don't get me wrong. But he's worked on like all of them, basically. You know,
He's had his hand in.
it has hands in it, yeah. And that still that's a big effect, you know, depending on how much these hands were in it, you know. And so it could be okay, or it could mean that it's terrible, or you know, like I said, how long has it been since we got 10, or since we got like a real Mega Man game to begin with?
I think
So
10
now-
or 11. Was it 10 or it was 10 that came out like literally like 2011?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now here's
you
my
think it's
thing.
7
Here's my
years
thing. I
ago?
was watching a whole like an essay, I guess, on how Mighty Number 9 failed and how now the new Mega Man's being announced. And one of the things that they brought up is that he actually wasn't like involved in the actual development of the game. He was more on the
really?
business side, and
Okay,
somebody else was there. But because he was the businessman, he was the face. And
okay.
and so he wasn't the one actually making anything. This is what I heard. I don't
Makes
know
sense. No,
how
I mean,
true this is.
It would make sense.
Yeah. So I mean that was
It would
one of the
actually
reasons.
make a lot of sense considering when KG went over to, you know, to do Mighty Number 9, that was just crap.
Exactly.
Well,
so
here's
that's
the
what
thing.
they brought up,
He
right?
also
So-
tried. I hate to say it, but he also was really trying hard to make it similar but not the same. So there was no charge attack; it was a charge dash.
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
and that was the thing, right? Like
really
he
screws
wasn't.
with someone who plays Mega Man. I mean,
Yeah, and he wasn't, because he wasn't involved in the actual development of the game. From what this video was saying, that's why it failed, because he's a businessman and all he did was make promises but didn't have anything to back it up.
He got the Kickstarter, you know, kicked off, and people backed the heck out of that game thanks to him. I think that was kind of the thing, right? And I think you're right. He made promises he wasn't personally able to keep, and that the development team wasn't able, you know, to keep.
see, I would like to see a revival of the Mega Man series. My favorite installments of the Mega Man series was the Battle Network and Legend
Oh,
series.
I love Battle Network.
I mean, I was devastated when Legends 3 was canceled because I bought a 3DS because I wanted Legends 3. I kid you not, I bought it because I wanted Legends 3. And then when they said, "Oh, no thanks," and I was just like, "No." And then
JK.
I seriously did not buy a Capcom game after the cancellation of Legends 3 for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
But then I bought Monster Hunter and I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Wait, okay, guys, but okay. I don't know if anybody else was gonna say anything on that topic, but I need Ghost Trick 2
Who?
for the Nintendo
Never heard of
Switch.
that.
Never
What's
heard of
that?
Ghost Trick.
Ghost Trick? Okay, Ghost Trick is
We're all bad gamers here.
I
then.
know.
Best streamers around, we don't even know.
no, it's fine. It was released in like 2011 for the Nintendo DS.
Oh, you're talking about Spirit Tracks.
What?
No,
You're talking about
Ghost
Spirit
Trick.
Tracks?
No.
No.
It's not
No, I'm
Zelda.
talking about Ghost Trick. It's called Ghost Trick. You can Google it and you can find stuff on it.
Phantom.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
Phantom
It's
Detective.
even on iOS and Android now. It got ported later. But anyway, it's like you like you're this like you play as this dead detective and you're like trying to like find out who you were and like what is happening, and then like you play as a ghost and you can like manipulate all these objects and stuff. It's really cool.
I think that's kind of a niche thing. I hate to say it because none of us have heard about
Yeah.
it. So
No, it really is. I know
So
it
how about
really
this?
is, but
How about
I want it.
on the
I
subject
want
of niche
That's fair.
games, what does everyone think about the re-release of The World Ends With You on the Switch?
I'm pretty excited for it. Actually.
Oh, yeah. See, that
I
gives
played
me
it on
hope for
like
Ghost Trick.
the DS. Yeah, I played it on DS.
Here's the thing: I have it on the DS. I have it on.
You have it on what?
I have it on the iPhone, which is going to be the version that's coming to the Switch,
Oh yeah.
and
Mhm.
and I have it on the DS. Now I have to say the iPhone version does add an extra chapter, which I thought was a really cool way to do it. They added some extra attacks, some extra audio tracks. It was really kind of cool. My problem is that I feel like it's not going to do well because the touchscreen version of it, I mean, you could barely you could play it, but it was still hard to play it compared to the DS version where you could control stylus and touchpad. Yeah, you had to kind of focus between the two, but you had two separate controls for controlling both parties.
Yeah.
Think about this. You're going to have to control both parties somehow. And you got to remember, a lot of that stuff was touch. So I'm not sure how that's gonna port over.
Well,
Granted,
I mean,
I hope it does really well. I'm gonna buy it.
touchscreen only, undocked only.
That would
I
be
mean, there are
weird, but
games
I
that
mean,
exist. No, well, there are games. already.
maybe back to what Chadley was saying with the remote. I mean, I could see that for the quote unquote styles because it's just simple motions: circle, line, box, lightning.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, yep.
But I hope it works because I loved that game. I remember when that came out; it was with the community because not a lot of people knew what to make of it.
Right.
But the soundtrack was awesome. The story was solid. The gameplay was crazy different.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Guys, I'm out of the loop on this one, so I can't say anything about this game. But
Here,
Daddy Gamer has been bringing up a Konami resurgence. Has anybody heard anything about Konami for E3?
nope.
No.
No, haven't heard anything about
Yeah.
Konami. You know who the only person I've heard anything about is Kojima, and apparently he has a big surprise for the
Death Stranding?
yeah, but he has a big surprise for the PS3 PS3, my goodness. PS4 presentation.
He's gonna be on PS3.
Yeah,
I'm
thinking of
bringing it
PS3.
back.
The resurgence of the PS3.
But yeah, like I don't know. Like apparently he has something to show, and it's supposed to be a big middle finger towards Konami. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what to expect. But that's the last thing I heard. That's all he said. He has a surprise. I don't know. I don't know if it's a new game he's working on, or if it's a possibility. People are saying that it might be his own version of what was that scary game, the Silent Hill game he was supposed to bring out, right?
PT or whatever.
Yeah. So apparently it's supposed to be something
supposed to be
he's-
Yeah.
yeah, it's supposed to be that, but just his version, different name, what he wanted it originally. So I mean, if it's that and it's true, I'm all down for that. I'm down,
By the-
Kojima. I'm down, Kojima.
By the way, Lou, I don't know if you saw the thing that I dropped there for you
Oh, no, I didn't.
on Discord.
you know, all right,
Okay,
let's
okay.
see. What else is there? Like one of the they're Ubisoft just going over to another developer. They're announcing the Division 2.
Yeah.
Anybody play the Division 1? I know
No.
me and Louis did.
Mm-hmm.
So I played. Let me tell you how much I played this game, the Division 1. When that came, this was back when I was still playing Destiny a whole bunch with my clan and all. And me and one of my clan mates, we picked it up together and we played it in the first week. We played it over 100 hours.
Whew. Holy.
So
I'm not
you
proud of this.
only
This
liked
was
it a
no
little bit.
life.
You only
Oh,
liked
just
it
a
a little
little.
bit.
We got to the point where they introduced, which were like the mini raids kind of things, you know, and kind of got a little bored with it because they were not balanced and whatever at first. But we played the heck out of that game for the first 2 or 3 weeks and really enjoyed it. It's a solid game. Today it's even better than it was back then. But to hear that they're doing a second one is kind of cool. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, my brother and I played it. We didn't fully get into it. I don't remember why we stopped playing it. We stopped playing it because of another game or something, didn't we?
Yeah, something else came out and we started hopping on that. I mean, me and my brother, we do a lot of co-op games. We love co-op
No
games.
way.
I'm down for co-op games.
You don't
But
say.
Mhm.
yeah, right. But here's the thing, it's like the Division, I remember me and him would talk that you wouldn't get a good reward. I mean,
That
you
was the
would get-
biggest problem.
Mhm.
Yeah, like you would get how did Angry Joe say it? You get a little beanie, and look at the beanie I got. You get a big fat jacket. Look at the jacket I
Well,
got.
and then
That was
even when
it.
you started getting half decent rewards, there were so many glitches in it. Like,
Yeah.
I can forgive that. Don't get me wrong, but it got to the point where to even get like half decent stuff. Me and a friend would glitch outside. There was one area where you could glitch outside of a gate, thanks to one of the abilities, like one of like the pop up, the shield thing, the pop up shield thing. And you could like glitch through the gate, through the fence, and then hide in a truck, and enemies couldn't hit you. And we would get into a party together, and one person would go run errands, shoot stuff for hours, and then we just go pick up all the rewards.
Wow.
And like you had to do that kind of stuff to get a decent chance at anything at that point. This is still very early in the game when it was still really bad like that, but that hurt it a ton.
Now I heard that they did fix it, and like all the big gripes were gone, and the game is like night and day how it used to be. I haven't played it since the updates though, so I can't speak about any of that.
Hey,
I know.
so
I would like to retry, like, because number 2 is apparent. Like they're showing a lot of stuff. Division 2, the essential improvements, all this stuff. If it's true that they're bringing it out, I mean, I would like to go back to revisit the Division just to see if it's true that it is different.
Mhm.
so
They got Alex.
another thing, I'm bringing this up for the Xbox One owners because I have an Xbox One.
Me too.
I know
Mhm.
not
Me
a lot
too.
of I don't think any of you guys got it.
What?
No, I don't, but
Oh,
I-
nice, Louis, my man.
and Corey.
Okay, Corey, I was like,
So
Corey.
here's the news about what Microsoft is bringing to E3, because I know we haven't even touched on this yet. Halo 6 is being brought. It's the final chapter in the Halo series for 343 Industries post Bungie trilogy. So this is the last one done by them. Could be the last one potentially done at all for Halo. This could be the end of Halo.
Oh wow.
Gears of War 5 is might be shown. It's a little early in its development, but they're looking to actually kind of be like, this is what we can do with 4K games.
Mhm.
This is what they want to show with what they can do for 4K games with Gears of War 5. And then there is a big thing with Fable 4's appearance. And then they're also bringing
Love me
their
some Fable.
VR. But going back to what Corey was saying about making it more available, the Xbox VR is going to be the Halo lens.
Not the HoloLens.
Oh no, sorry, HoloLens. I
Oh,
misread it.
Okay, I was about to say, please tell me they weren't trying to like make a.
Yeah, you're just gonna put on this helmet. You're gonna put
Okay,
on a Master
Chadley,
Chief
talk.
helmet.
Chadley hasn't said anything for like 10 minutes.
Maybe longer.
Okay. Well, now that you guys brought up Microsoft, I was looking. It reminded me of one of the things that they just announced, a new piece of hardware. I don't know if you guys saw any news
Oh
about
yeah.
the adaptive
The adaptive
controller.
Yeah, I
that
think that's
thing
so cool.
is.
I was
What
gonna
is the
bring that
adaptive
up
controller?
earlier, but
Yeah.
What were you saying, Charlie? The thing
Yeah,
was
that thing is so cool. Like I saw the whole promo video that they had for it and stuff, and it's I think it's a step in the right direction as far as allowing more accessibility for people that have like handicaps and stuff.
yeah.
Because
Where was it when I broke my hand?
a big thing that's missing. Like there's a lot of people that are into gaming and they want to play the games, but they just can't because they physically can't play them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is like, I hope the other companies pick up on this because it's a step in the right direction to include everyone and not
Well,
just a subset of gamers.
So-
Yeah, there's like a
I-
huge.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. There's like a huge. I'm sure there's like a huge percentage of people in the world who are disabled.
What I was going to try to bring to this is what you're saying there.
Hmm?
I work in the medical industry, and
Me too.
Nintendo has been the one company that's really kind of done the most for
Yes.
helping the elderly and disabled with that, with the Wii.
Yes, with
The
the
Wii
Wii.
was a
Yeah.
big thing.
Exactly.
When I worked
Yeah.
when I worked in a nursing home, there was a lot of elderly people who had
Yes.
strokes or just had
Yes.
crippling carpal tunnel or arthritis, but they could still play stuff like Wii bowling. And
Exactly.
that was a big thing. And I mean, that's kind of one of the things that I really contribute probably to the Wii sales being so high was because a lot of medical facilities were buying this because it was so easy for people who were impaired to be able to use this to play some of the simple games. Now, I think this is an amazing step. I didn't even this chat. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And speaking from somebody who wore a cast for the last month and still had to try to figure out how to stream.
Well, if you would have
would've
punched
killed.
a mail truck.
Shut up.
Yeah,
It blew up and you guys saw it from
Wait,
space.
let me ask you this. Did the mail truck survive?
It exploded. It was seen from space. But you know, like just experiencing that for a month, like I think that's an amazing thing. Even if it doesn't become like an all-time bestseller type of peripheral, I think it's great that they're following something like this because I know I desperately wanted something like that while I had a broken hand. Yeah. And even now, like I can't make a full fist. Like I can make a fist, I can't squeeze it at all. I have no strength in this hand. And while gaming, it's extremely painful right now. And it's like I could only imagine what somebody who's permanently disabled needs.
Well, exactly.
Can I, if you don't mind me continuing my story a little bit with there was one person I can't get into a lot of details because I
Oh yeah, you got that whole HIPAA thing.
But what I can say is there was one patient who basically couldn't use their entire left side. And I literally the only game that he could play
brain thing
was bowling. That was all he could do. He couldn't get the golf working properly for him because his movement was so limited in his right side. So I literally brought every Wii game that I had trying to find something new that he could play. And I spent an entire day of my time not working. Like I came when I wasn't scheduled, and I tried everything I could find. And I think the closest thing I could find that he could play outside of just the standard Wii Sports, though, was the Wii Play. You know, that thing that had like the pool and the weird bumper pole. So I think some of these things need to go a step further of adding a mode to go with that kind of controller.
That would be really good. Yeah, and I just wanted to add to what you were saying before about like medical facilities and like nursing homes and stuff. I had when I had to go to physical therapy after my brain surgery, I would like play the Wii there. Like I already had a Wii, so I could also like play it at home too. But yeah, I also wrote a 10-page paper on using video games as therapy a couple years ago. So that's just kind of cool that you guys brought that up.
Yeah, like my doctor, he's like, you can go to physio, and then I told him I'm a streamer. He goes, video games better than physio. Go do that.
It's true.
You guys are mean. You guys are mean. I'm sorry. This is something that not.
What?
Corey and Chadley know.
What?
Running water.
Nothing.
We'll come back to that later. Not on this. So that's really awesome. I'm hoping to see some games that will implement that properly, because I can only imagine that some games will not play properly with that kind of controller.
Well, what it is it's using the regular controller like information, and then it has jacks that they can plug in different styles of buttons and stuff into it.
I know that, but think about a game so just because that works to a 1-to-1 doesn't mean controlling certain games based on how their controls already are complicated, that it's going to work well for that controller. That's why I'm saying I'm hoping there'll be different ways to configure the button configurations.
Yeah.
Because
based on what I saw and what I heard in that promo trailer that they have for it, that everything that's on the controller can be mapped to however you want it to be.
Kind of the whole point.
So, yeah, it's not locked down by saying that, you have to have this kind of configuration or you have to have this kind of disability. So,
you know what's funny is this technology, this stuff actually already exists.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about it. So if anybody I know people that have the Xbox One Elite controller and then use it on the PS4 because they have, I don't remember what it's called, like the Cronus Max or whatever. It's a device, a little thing that's like this big. It plugs into the USB port on the PlayStation, and then you plug in the controller into it, and I think you program it like on the computer or whatever. You can tell it what buttons function as what. based on like what profile, so what controller you want to use.
So basically, like a gaming mouse and setting up your macro.
Yeah, but it lets you like reconfigure all the. So it's. I'm not saying I'm not impressed because it's still really awesome that Xbox is is doing this kind of like natively, for them. But it's really cool because that's already exists, so it should be pretty easy for this stuff to work without much hassle. It's already there.
So I hate to move into another topic, but I got really excited for this because of something that Ubisoft announced.
Yeah, no, go ahead. That's why we're here, right?
I'm gonna quick run through just their list of what they're doing. The last one here is the thing that I'm excited about. So new Assassin's Creed, new Tom Clancy, new Tom Clancy Splinter Cell. That is a returning voice of Sam Fisher. Excited to see the post MGSV Splinter Cell. The Division 2, like you guys were saying. Excited about that. I'm in a new Battlefield Call of Duty. I mean, that's to be expected. Beyond Good and Evil 2.
I know.
That was rumored for last year too.
I know, but this is and so they're
Wait,
showing
what?
it. Yeah.
No,
Sorry, what? You cut out.
You cut out.
Oh, sorry. Beyond Good and Evil 2's release is supposed
Hey, we're getting rated, by the way.
Beyond Good and Evil 2, what?
Murphy's Law gaming is rating. It's like
It keeps cutting off.
Beyond Good and Evil 2. Beyond Good and Evil 2.
So Beyond Good
Welcome.
and Evil 2 is supposed to be released holiday this year.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Wait,
Confirmed?
Wait,
It's
guys, we're being
confirmed?
rated by
we're getting
Murphy's
rated by
Law.
Murphy's Law. Yeah.
Hey, Murphy's Law raid.
Thank you for the raid.
Welcome,
guys.
Raiders.
Raiders!
Oh,
yeah. Guys, welcome to
Yeah,
first
Murphy.
our first podcast
Hey.
ever. I'm glad you guys can join us. How's it going, guys? How's it going, Murphy's Law? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
going on?
What's going on?
What's going on?
Awesome Possum says they've never rated a podcast before. This is new. It is new.
Woo.
Excellent.
So,
But yeah, there's
Good and Evil
I mean-
2 was an awesome game, and I really have a lot of for Beyond Evil
that's
2.
the one with the girl and the pig guy thing, right?
Yeah.
And this is supposed to be a prequel, right?
Yes,
like, take
but
place-
here's the thing. I hold Beyond Good and Evil to the same standard that I hold.
I'll be right back,
Psychonauts.
guys.
They were two awesome games. They blew me out of the water when it came to video games, and I think they are like some of the top tier games that have ever been developed. So to see, I might be hyping it up too much for myself, but I'm excited.
No, I mean, basically everyone I know that's ever played Beyond Good and Evil is absolutely stoked beyond belief for Beyond Good and Evil 2. I've never played the first one, but it's always looked good, and it's just something I've never gotten around to playing. So I'm pretty excited. I might have to try, the first one out at some point.
Well, you know what the nice thing is that it was free for a while on Xbox if you've been downloading your Xbox stuff.
I might have. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah. So I mean, I'm excited to check it out. It looks pretty cool, but I don't know. I'm not like one of those people that's super hyped about it.
I mean, I don't know if anyone's really Creed or Call of Duty, but I mean, Beyond Good and Evil 2 from Ubisoft. I got hopes. I got hopes for that.
Yeah, I've never played the game, so I'm
So-
excited because it seems like it's really good, but that's as far
At
as
the
I go.
mention of Call of Duty, what do you guys think about Call of Duty doing a battle royale?
Well, it's only natural that they would try to get in on the hype train.
I'm
of-
so tired of battle royale.
I'm gonna be honest with you. There's one battle royale game that I like, and that's Fortnite, because it adds a building feature. I think it's fun. I think the building feature really plays to Fortnite in a really good way.
Mhm.
I played Call of Duty a lot when I was in high school. I'll admit it. I bought Black Ops 2. Every year I'd buy a new one, and there came a point where I was like, you know what? It's the same game.
Yeah.
It's just the same game.
You're
So,
dating yourself, Brew.
Having a battle royale version in Call of Duty is just their way of being all like money grab. It's no different than when EA with Battlefield 2 did
Loot
the loot boxes. There was no need for it. Everyone was angry,
Mhm.
and I feel like it's what's Call of Duty. Call of Duty, because right now you got to think about this. Esports is dominated by probably 4 core games right now.
Mm-hmm.
That is Blizzard's Overwatch.
Mm.
That's COD, Call of Duty. That is
CS:GO.
CS:GO. And then God, there's one more. I can't even think about it. But I mean,
Like that
those are
top-down game, right?
yeah.
Oh, Dota or League of
Yeah,
Legends. League of Legends.
League of Legends, that was the one.
Yeah.
Those are the 4 that are dominating right now. That being said, a lot of the top Fortnite players right now are being picked up by the same people that sponsor those teams. So I think Fortnite, not PUBG, not Call of Duty, is going to be the league standard for these kind of games, for the battle royale game. Because if you look at streamers like PK Cypher or Ninja, they're getting picked up by these giant name brand game sponsoring league companies. And I mean, like, I'm talking about within the last 2 months that this has been happening.
So you're saying that I should start doing Fortnite?
I'm
Here's
saying-
the thing. Let me put some 2 cents into that, Brew, because I can agree with you with this whole Fortnite thing. Look, when I started streaming, I wasn't thinking Fortnite. Everybody, Fortnite. For me, Fortnite was, I'm like, it's another shooter. I don't want to get into it. But as a team, this whole, I'm just gonna pick one of the things that I'm enjoying most of it. I enjoy squads. I do, with all my teammates, the people who play with us. But what I've been really enjoying is this 50-50 thing.
I haven't
Because
played that yet.
you know what? It adds an action pack. It's still fun. It's still cartoony. The only downside is that the teams don't help you. But you got that fun, cartoony feel to it. And it's not so, it doesn't take itself literal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have this fun, cartoony feel to it. So then when you do 50-50, it's a rush. It's funny because you're doing stuff. And then all of a sudden, you die and you start it again. So I think, I agree with you, Brew. I mean, I think this is where the standard's going to go to. They're going to turn around and say, competition, Fortnite.
Like I said, I think it's going to be the league standard. Just like
for sure.
Overwatch is the league standard for its style, just like League of Legends is the. But that being said, then you go. But here's the thing. Then you go back to Nintendo. Hate to say it, Chadley, you're right. Every 15 minutes we go back to Nintendo. Nintendo is trying to push their own version of E-League right now because Nintendo has bought time through Disney with their Disney XD, and basically all Nintendo E-League matches are being only streamed through Disney XD. And I'll be honest, when you have other E-Leagues being streamed through ESPN, TBS, other stuff like that are actually like known for streaming sports versus one that's just straight up for children, I think that's where they're kind of hurting themselves, Nintendo is, for making some of their games seem more viable for an older audience. I mean, I'll even go so far as I have participated in VGC, which is the Pokemon Worlds Tournament. It is a big tournament. I mean, just winning regionals guarantees you like a lot of money and also a place in the next up tier of the world ranking into regionals, through regionals, to nationals, to worlds.
Well, the other thing you got to think about, though, is, they're doing that through Disney, but we don't know what's behind the scenes. We don't know who else they've tried to contact to see if they would be willing to stream their stuff.
Right.
That's true. That's
So
true,
Disney, and maybe Disney was their first choice because maybe they were thinking that depending on the games that they were going to be showing, by nature, I'm sorry, Nintendo, but you are a family-friendly company.
Absolutely.
What other better company to partner with than Disney?
Is this
Things like that, they may have reached out to ESPN. The ESPN might have just said, well, no, sorry, we already have enough esports stuff in our catalog. And if you start showing, and they might change their mind after they see if Nintendo is able to pull something off the right way. So having it on Disney is not terrible, I don't think. It's just, but it's a good start for them, I think.
Yeah.
That person isn't streaming, Rigo.
What?
Oh, I thought we were doing a raid. I thought that's why.
No, that was the
not a
link
raid.
for Murphy's Law Gaming, who just rated.
No.
Oh,
You didn't read the last one. I said Guys,
he
please go
read.
check out Murphy's Law. He took the time to rate us. We can take the
Yep.
time to sub to him.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
But
sorry.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Chadley. Like we don't know what happened behind the scenes, and like with like the whole Nintendo World thing. That's where is that happening in Universal Studios, or is that in Disney?
That's
Universal.
Universal Studios.
Is Universal?
It's Universal, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they're obviously trying to spread out to more companies and everything. So Disney is definitely the way to go, especially when they've always been so poised towards being family oriented.
Well, I mean, the last 2 to 3 years, I think, is when they've been really kind of hyping the Nintendo tournament. I mean, there was Retro, there was the Splatoon matches, there was something else that they did. I mean,
Oh yeah, now they're having it again this year.
Well, they're even going to have tournaments during E3.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're going to have the
Yeah,
Splatoon
saw
2
that.
tournament. They're having the Smash Brothers Invitational.
Yes.
So, like, they're doing those things during E3 as a
well,
way to help
Yeah, arms.
fill
here's
their
the thing.
time, I think.
but here's the thing that bothers me about going to Disney with Nintendo. That is just who they went to, because like you said, they're going for their demographic. Their demographic is children. Unfortunately, we don't fit that demographic. So I mean, it's whatever. But Disney is also trying to get their hand at the streamer audience by doing their weird late night show, Adult Swim equivalent of let's play these games,
Mhm.
which is, I'll be honest, I tried watching, I couldn't even watch through it. I mean, I'll be honest, any streamer, just any streamer in the chat, in this group, anywhere, better than what they're trying to put out. Like, it is literally just
Next thing you know, we all get emails from Disney.
Oh, snap, right?
oh,
But
All
that's
right.
like with anything though, like the streaming industry is becoming more and more like it's picking up. Like there's more people doing it.
Mhm.
There's money to be had in doing it.
Yeah.
So it's only makes sense that other larger companies will start doing the same thing as a way to draw money in.
That's true, Chadley.
So yeah, Disney's, like you're saying, doing their weird thing, but if it's a new thing for them, it's gonna be weird in the beginning, I guess. But
I don't know. I
but-
take it back to the dark ages of Cartoon Network, where they did lots of reality. Like that's how it feels. It's that dark age of Cartoon Network Real, or whatever they called it, where they had like all the live action whatevers. It was a dark day in game. It was a dark day in television when they got rid of Ed, Ed and Eddie and Dexter's Laboratory and all that for their live stuff.
You know what I am giving Nintendo pat on the back for is the fact that they're adding finally like these games, these AAA title games. I mean, they brought Doom and Wolfenstein over to the Switch, and that was something that I was never expecting to see. And looking at the E3 titles here, looks like I don't know if you guys ever played the Serious Sam series.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
It's
just a little
yeah,
bit.
it's just a crazy shoot 'em up game, kill a bunch of blood everywhere, you know. But they're bringing it number 4. They're bringing it over to the Switch,
Oh yeah, I heard about
PC
that.
and Switch. Yeah, and then so that's pretty cool. I mean, they're definitely opening themselves up. And then we're looking at apparently Roller Coaster Tycoon for the Switch.
Yeah, I heard about that too.
Yeah,
That's
so
pretty exciting.
I think it's a good idea. What I think is it's the developers latching onto it, because you know what? They tried that with the Wii and the Wii U. There was a Call of Duty game for the Wii and the Wii U close
Yes.
to the launch, but then nothing else. There was
Yeah.
a sports game that was EA at the start of the launch, and never again.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
this is them trying to latch onto it because of how well it sold, and that's the only reason. So if Nintendo all of a sudden, I'm saying God forbid, let's say over the next year Nintendo's stock falls, no one else is buying Switches ever again, blah blah blah. They're gonna run away again.
Yeah, but that's just with anything, right? Like look at PC gaming. Go back 8 years ago to PC gaming. PC gaming was pretty much dead. Like nobody was developing for them. It was consoles only, and rarely would you get a PC port out of it. Now PC
Yeah.
gaming has become more accessible. Now you're getting a ton of PC games. And when the Wii was huge, the developers were limited by the graphics, right? So they weren't interested necessarily in releasing to that. But they do that with everything. If you have a failing console, a lot of developers won't want to work for it anyway. So that's just a
Yeah.
generic video game world issue. Xbox right now is struggling to find anybody to do anything for them because they're just not doing well.
Yeah.
But it is exciting to see that Nintendo finally has third-party support, because that's what they've needed all these years, and they've just never tried to strive to please the third-party developers. And I think that's one of the reasons that they've always run away, is when Nintendo's like, it's my way or no way, and the developers are like, yeah, but the other guys are doing it, so let's go over there.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you know what we haven't talked about for the PS4, which I'm personally super excited for, is The Last of Us Part 2.
I never beat
Yeah,
number
I
one.
never played the first one.
I didn't care for the first one, so
I
got
liked
nothing on
number
this
one.
one.
I thought it was really good, but I've always liked survival horror style games, so I'm a huge fan of that. I'm excited for the next one. I definitely need to be the first one.
What's that new
I
zombie
saw-
game that they're bringing out for the PlayStation and all
Are you
that?
talking about the one with the giant hordes that they
I
showed the
s-
tech
Oh
demo?
Yeah.
That one's actually been pushed back.
what is that?
What is it called? I can't
Had some
remember what it's
development
called.
Issues with that. I can't remember its name, but I remember hearing that they've had a lot of development issues. It's been pushed back 2 years.
Well, I mean,
Huh.
like what they're trying to do is like it's cool because with that game, I can't remember what it's called. Something Days, something can't remember. Anyways, it's cool. Every time you turn it on, it's never the same situation. You'll do the mission, but every time you move in the level, you won't have that horde of zombie that's gonna come at you at that point. You might get to that point and there's no zombies. You might get to that
Basically-
point, it's RNG everything.
So,
So
it's
that-
basically just free roaming, just AIs just going anywhere they want.
Exactly. The AI is gonna go anywhere they want, and every time they show a demo of it, it gets better and better. Because when they showed the first demo, it's like all glitchy, it's not working right, and then
I hate to compare it to something, but you know what it reminded me of? Did anyone ever like dig up an anthill when they were a kid?
Oh yeah.
Like that's what I thought of when I saw it. It's a bunch of like just horde zombies.
oh,
with,
you're
like, a
talking about
giant-
like
yeah. It's just like a giant anthill coming to attack you from each direction.
Well, I'm excited for that game, whether it takes a long time or not. But I mean, I've got a zombie tattoo. I'm obsessed with zombies. So
You have a zombie tattoo?
yeah, right there. It's a zombie pinup
I don't
girl.
know.
What is it?
A zombie pinup girl.
Oh,
Do
Gosh.
you guys mind if I kind of deviate a little bit?
You're such a deviant.
Just a little bit.
I have something to say about The Last of Us too.
Oh, go ahead.
I saw a tweet. It's nothing substantial or anything, but I saw a tweet that's like, if The Last of Us 2 has a battle royale mode, they could call it The Last of Us.
Oh my
that's
God.
funny. Okay, Brew, what were you gonna say?
Days Gone. Steph
Well,
says Days Gone. Is
Days Gone, that's the one.
Days Gone, yeah.
Who's into comics? Just show of hands.
I mean,
Nobody?
not really. I mean,
Walking Dead comic was the only thing I've ever read.
I've looked at some in the past.
They're right now in the comic world looking
I
pool.
used to read manga sometimes.
Right now they're trying to kill off Deadpool permanently.
Oh, why?
Disney does not like Deadpool.
What?
Well,
I can see
mean-
why.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense if they want
That's not a shocker.
Right?
Platform.
Here's the thing: is that Disney now owns Deadpool.
No, I know. I know because they're trying to kill him off because they're like wanting to be family friendly and stuff. I don't know.
He'll never be family friendly.
No, Deadpool.
Come,
won't.
kids.
That's why. That's why I'm saying they
Yeah,
want to
I
kill
just-
him off.
I don't know. I feel so sad. I feel like we're losing good ideas for games right there. Just like I loved the Deadpool game when it came out, but I feel like there's so much more we could do. And I'm sorry. I wanted to throw that out there for thinking about. If you guys want Deadpool to survive, make sure to check out more Deadpool stuff. Deadpool, yeah. Go see the movie.
Not
Guys, don't
hashtag
forget
not
for-
sponsored.
For all those who are watching the podcast, please, all these lovely streamers here, they're all their links are at the bottom, so you can definitely click on their links and give them a sub as well. But yeah, there's what else is there? Like, oh my goodness.
Well, if you
the-
want some more things to talk about, talk about
No Man's
Hey.
Sky.
Oh,
multiplayer?
Yeah.
Full
multiplayer, yeah.
actual multiplayer.
So
Yeah.
who still has a copy? Just
I never played it.
I never picked it up.
Of what?
Corey, you and me, boy.
No Man's Sky.
Oh, No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I don't know what to think. I mean, Sean Murray's back in the spotlight, right? So he's left a really bad taste in my mouth. So I don't know if I want to believe what he has to say. But they've done right by their players now. So I don't know. I don't know where I
Here's the
stand
thing,
with that.
it's like a year and a half after the.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, right? I never played it. Like I wish I want to try it out, but
You could probably pick it up for $10.
Probably.
Like straight up, just go to your local used game store. You could pick it up for $10, maybe less.
yeah.
But I don't know. That's one of those tough conversations, right? Because he promised so much and delivered on almost nothing at the beginning. But they've had time to work on it, and they've delivered on much of what they promised before. So maybe they're gonna go in this a little bit more humble and actually give what they're supposed to. Who knows? You never know with people.
All right, guys, I'm really gonna leave this time. It's 11 o'clock, and we're for a while.
Yeah, we were going at it.
I've been having a blast chatting with you guys and hanging out.
So here's some news. Sorry. Bye, Corey. Love you.
All right, Corey.
Love you.
All right, Corey.
Take
Thanks for
care,
hanging out,
buddy.
man.
Thanks,
See you
everybody.
later,
for
man.
joining us
It was
today.
great.
Oh,
for
Central
having
Time
me
Zone
on.
struggle. Bye, Corey.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks, everybody.
okay, buddy.
And I'll see y'all sometime soon.
So
Bye.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right, bye.
Go check him out over at CC Gaming.
That's
sure,
right, guys.
Subscription.
So some news from the Canada developer BioWare. Looks like they are creating some kind of Mass Effect Andromeda mashup with Lost Planet and Dark Void. And that sounds like a lot of just we're gonna throw everything at see what works. What do you guys think?
Like I like the first Lost Planet. Didn't like anything from that point forward. Mass Effect I thought was cool. Andromeda was big disappointment. So I think it's just going to be a disaster.
Oh boy. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think I have to agree with Louis. That one. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't even know what to say about that. Actually, changing for developers here, Rockstar. Apparently, they have some sort of thing they want to announce with GTA, but the biggest thing is their Red Dead Redemption 2. What are you guys expecting to see?
I played the first one. It was a lot of goodness, but I think it's back to the whole overhyping. I mean, people have waited for this for so long. I mean, what was it? Like last year, they released something that was like a red sky in the desert, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's gonna be!" And it wasn't.
Yeah, like, are you talking about at the Switch presentation where they had that and then it?
No, they did a tweet that was like a kind of desert background with a sunset, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, they're gonna announce this game," and then they didn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because I think it ended up being some kind of DLC for GTA Online.
Oh, that's funny. I remember I was like watching the Switch presentation last year in last January, and they showed like cowboys like in the desert. If you guys, I don't know if you guys remember that. If you're talking. But I was like, I'm gonna be so. I was watching with my friend, and I was like, I'm gonna be so surprised if they announce Red Dead Redemption for the Switch, and it was 1-2 Switch.
I remember that. You're right. I remember.
Yeah, no, but I do agree. I think it's overhyped. It'll have the same issues that a lot of these games have, where people get so hyped. It's like Half-Life 3 confirmed. It's like that game. Even if they were to confirm it, it would be a failure no matter what, because people would expect too much. And I think Red Dead Redemption's writing on that line, where it's like people are really hyped. They're not going to be as happy as they expect because they're expecting too much.
Well, here's I hate to say it. Did you guys hear about the fan game that came out for Half-Life?
The what?
The fan game that Valve let go through in Steam right now. That's like The Hunt for Shepard.
Is it out already, or are they working?
Yeah,
I know there's a company working on it. Like one of the developers is actually working on one.
Yeah, but it's not licensed through Valve, but they've already let it through. Like, it's nuts, right?
Yeah, like I didn't hear that it was out. I heard that a developer was working on it, and they've already said like, hey, we're going to release this. Valve just hasn't said anything about it, at least the one I've heard of. So people are super excited about it, but that's as far as I've heard.
I swear I heard that it was out.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard that it's out. I heard that they've said they're developing it, and people are like, what's Valve going to do? Are they going to put the kibosh on it, or are they going to let it happen? Because they've always been pretty cool, but nobody knows. And supposedly one of the developers is there, and he says he has a bunch of like, notes of everything they were planning to do for Half-Life 3 when Half-Life 3 was really a thing. But I don't know. That's as far as I've heard.
Didn't the writer release like the entire like plot summary of Half-Life 3?
Yeah.
Ooh, sorry, that was a burp. Excuse me.
So and apparently like they did it with like just switching the name by like 2 letters just so it wouldn't be copyright infringement or whatever, but it was really obvious to know who was who.
I'm literally pulling up Steam right now. I'm loading it right now to check to see if it has been released yet. I will let you guys know in a second.
Yeah, it is.
So- Yeah.
Oh, it is nice.
Yeah.
So it
See,
is out.
Charlie doesn't say anything. He just does it. He's like, I'm not even going to argue. I'm just
While you guys are talking, I'm just looking things up. So.
So it is out. The Hunt for Shepherd is out.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
trailers. They got screenshots. It's $18 US. It was released in February
See, I knew it
of this
was
year. So yeah. So
There
yeah,
you go.
definitely. Yeah, it's developed by Royal Rudius Entertainment, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Mhm, mhm.
So yeah, it's totally not Valve at all.
Mhm.
So it looks pretty decent from what I'm seeing here, but obviously it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same thing as what Valve could come up with. But I mean, yeah, it's very cool if Valve lets it go, just to have something else to bring back Half-Life,
Mhm.
Yeah.
So get people excited, and maybe this will be what
Wait.
Valve needs to realize that, hey, it's not dead.
But here's the thing: they'll
Yeah.
never
Wait,
bring
I
it back
thought-
because they've even said that the game has been hyped too much. To what Louis was saying, it's been
Mhm.
hyped too much, and that no matter what they make, it won't be good enough.
Yeah, and the money's not there for them,
Yeah.
right? They're making billions on Steam. Why would they invest money in something that's not going to return as much as Steam is returning?
That's
Yeah.
true.
I mean,
For
they
sure.
really don't have any real competition. I mean, sure, Epic's got the Epic Loader, Blizzard's got whatever Blizzard's got,
Mhm.
BlizzardNet or whatever it's called. But I mean, there is no true competition
Nope.
for Steam. I mean, Steam is the quote unquote Netflix until someone comes out with the Hulu of PC gaming or whatever. I mean, we're just kind of stuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Well then, what do you call it? I think, honestly, I'm just gonna throw it out there. I think we've talked about almost everything we can think of for the
I've got
E3.
one more thing, and it's from EA.
All right, just wait. But I'm gonna look for someone to raid because we gotta raid someone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think I already know who I'm gonna raid.
Okay.
But go ahead. We'll finish it with Brew with the EA.
All right. So EA has confirmed that a new Battlefield game will make its appearance, though we still don't know much about the game's involvement, but it is going to be a brand new Battlefield. What do you guys feel about the quote unquote another Battlefield like 3, like their Star Wars Battlefield series? I mean, I was disappointed in the first one so much that I didn't buy the second one.
Is it Battlefield or Battlefront?
Battlefield.
Battlefield.
Yeah, so Battlefield isn't Star Wars. That's
Isn't
the
Star
Oh,
Wars.
it's not?
no,
No,
Battlefront is
So
Star
I
Wars.
thought it was Star Wars.
Yeah, no, Star Wars
No, that's
Battlefront.
Battlefront.
Yeah,
So what is Battlefield then?
that's
Is
the
that like-
war game, the World
is it
War
like the
One, and
Call of Duty
Yeah.
or whatever?
yeah, the Call of Duty competitor.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that might be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, most people are assuming it's going to be World War II. I don't know. I don't follow FPSs, so for me, it's whatever. I might buy it just because I like pretty graphics, but that's about it.
Yeah, they do have pretty graphics. That's for sure.
Looks pretty.
It looks pretty, runs good. It must be it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I thought that was the Star Wars game.
Yeah, no,
And
that's
so I was like-
Battlefront.
I was like, are we really getting a third one this quickly?
Yeah.
Did the second one tank so hard that we're getting a third one?
Now, is it supposed to be a trilogy? Because I remember that there's a couple of games that are contracted to do 3, but I can't remember if Battlefront is one of them.
I don't think so because I remember Disney was really, really upset with how EA handled Battlefront 2. Oh yeah, I guess you're right. It is front versus field. So they were so upset that it was actually Disney who told EA that they had to take down their loot boxes.
Yeah,
Like,
like I know there's some that have like contracts from the beginning. It's like, okay, you guys are gonna make this game, you have to make 3 of them. So I was just wondering if that's one of the ones that falls into that, because even if Disney's mad, they'd still have to do it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I can't remember if that's one of them. I know there's a few of them that out there that are like that have
I know Sega
burnt
did
bridges.
that back in the day with Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we got that garbage pile that was Sonic Boom.
What? That was the best game of all time.
What are you talking about? What game were you playing? Sonic 06 was better than that game.
Okay. So let's pick here. Do you guys
what about
on
James
stream? Hold on. Do you guys
Sorry.
want to see Mario Maker or do you want to see Mario Kart?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you were gonna say like who pick who we were gonna raid. I just wanted to. Anyway, sorry.
No, that's how I'm picking. I want to find out what people want to watch. They want to see Kart or they want to see Mario Maker, because I have 2 people who I kind of want to raid.
Oh, okay.
You got 1 cart, 1 Mario Maker,
I say Kart.
2 carts.
I say cart.
3 carts.
3 carts. We got Kart. Was that what everybody wants to?
I'm seeing more makers in there too, though.
There's a couple of makers, but I've heard a lot of carts. There's another cart.
There's
Yeah,
another
we got-
maker.
It's mostly cart. It looks
Yeah.
I think it's mostly Kart.
like.
Let me just finish before we do anything.
Yeah.
Guys, I hope everybody enjoyed what they saw today. You know what, that's a lot of information for E3, but I feel that this was it was fun. It was fun to be able to converse with this. It's sad that CC Gaming is missing the ending, but that's okay. But everybody, please, I appreciate all of you who came to our first podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please don't forget to subscribe to everyone who joined us today, all these lovely streamers. Their description, they are in the description below, all their links, so definitely go check them out, give them a sub. Thank you all very much. If you enjoyed what you saw, hit that thumbs up, hit that sub. My Facebook and my Discord are in the description below as well. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna raid James Clark, who is streaming right now. He is doing Mario Kart. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to get this up. It's not working for me.
Oh no.
I can't see it. Why can't I see it?
Oh no.
It doesn't want to work.
Mandarin Tang has the best
What are we gonna call this raid?
Taco Pod raid.
Taco Pod raid?
Yeah.
I don't know. Taco Cast raid.
Taco Pod raid. Okay, we'll do the Taco Pod raid.
Or Taco Cast.
I mean, that's the name of your podcast.
Yeah, that's
Taco
the name
Cast.
of the podcast. So yeah.
Taco Cast raid.
Taco Cast raid. Okay, all right. Well, we can do Taco Cast raid. But why isn't it working? I can't get it to come up. There it is.
The Tide Pod raid. Oh God, no.
All right, so there he is. Let's okay, we'll do Taco Cast raid. So let me grab his link here and let's do the raid.
Thanks so much for hanging out, everybody. It was nice talking to all you guys too.
It was fun. Let's go ahead and go for a raid, guys. Let's do it. Let's
Super
raid him. Let's see his reaction.
Okay.